Chapter 27:11. He shook his head and got rid of this unrealistic idea. Cultivation needed to be done step by step. This time, he broke through 2 levels at once. Even if the measure formula still had energy, he couldn't continue to improve. He needed time to stabilize it. However, since the measure formula had such a heaven-defying effect, he couldn't waste it. How could he find a treasure with powerful energy for the measure formula to absorb? Lu Ming began to think. Boy, even if there's no treasure with powerful energy, I can absorb the energy between heaven and earth all the time and slowly accumulate energy. It's just that the speed is much slower. The measure formula said again. Is that possible? Lu Ming was elated. He sensed it carefully. True enough, he discovered that the energy of heaven and earth was slowly gathering toward him and surging into the quantifier formula. Although it was slow, it would accumulate over a long period of time and it would be very impressive. Boy, if you want to accumulate energy as soon as possible, I can guide you to a place in this secret realm. There's a treasure there. If I absorb and refine it, I'm sure it can improve your cultivation by a lot. The measure formula continued. There's such a treasure? Where is it? Lu Ming asked quickly. He was a little excited. He had tasted the sweetness just now and was looking forward to it. That place is called Night Dragon Cave. There's a kind of night dragon blood jade inside, which contains terrifying energy. As long as you get it and let me refine it, I'll transfer the energy to you. Then, your cultivation will skyrocket. The measure formula said. Okay, I'll go. I'll definitely go. Lu Ming made up his mind. Phew. After communicating with the measure formula, Lu Ming took a deep breath and ended his cultivation. Lu Ming, you can break through your cultivation continuously. That's crazy. Yu Linglong shouted exaggeratedly when she saw that Lu Ming had ended his cultivation. I was lucky. I had a fortuitous encounter in the past and accumulated a surge of energy. Just now when I was in danger, I risked my life and unleashed all of it. I didn't expect that my gamble was correct and allowed my cultivation to increase by a level. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Despite Lu Ming's explanation, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were still shocked. That's right, I know of a place in the Nether Dragon Mystery Realm called the Night Dragon Cave. There might be treasures inside. Should we go check it out? Lu Ming's tone changed. Yes, of course, Yu Linglong said. She was very curious. Once she heard that there were treasures, how could she not go? Of course, before they left, there was one more thing they had to do, and that was the Nether Dragon's Beast Core. The 3 of them worked together to collect the Nether Dragon's Beast Core and left. However, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng had not fully recovered from their injuries. They had not recovered to their peak condition yet. The 3 of them immediately found a secluded place. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng focused on healing their injuries. After a few more days, their injuries were completely healed. Their cultivation and battle strength had also returned to their peak condition. Currently, there were only 6 days left until the 3-month deadline. Lu Ming immediately headed toward the Night Dragon Cave under the guidance of the quantifying character formula. The Night Dragon Cave was located deep inside the Nether Dragon Mystery Realm. As the 3 of them advanced, there were still Nether Dragons and Dragonbone flowers attacking them. They were all attracted by the Nether Dragon blood curse in Lu Ming's body. Of course, with Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng's current strength, it was easy for them to kill the Nether Dragons and Dragonbone flowers. It took them 3 days to reach the Night Dragon Cave that the quantifying character formula had pointed out. Along the way, they had a great harvest. They had killed a large number of Nether Dragons and Dragonbone flowers, obtaining a large amount of beast cores and dragon bones. The 3 of them split the beast cores and dragon bones equally. Lu Ming now had enough beast cores and dragon bones to exchange for 50,000 points. This time, he had achieved his initial goal of coming in. 50,000 points were enough to exchange for the first layer of a sacred technique. This is the Night Dragon Cave? Lu Ming, are you mistaken? Yu Linglong was a little shocked as she looked at the splashing lake water in front of them. At this moment, there was an endless lake in front of them. Where was the cave? There's a formation here that's affecting our senses. Don't worry about it, we'll just go straight ahead. Lu Ming said. Of course, this was what the quantifying character formula had told him. The 3 of them stepped forward. After walking for a while, they suddenly felt a layer of barrier in front of them. It was like a layer of bubbles. Don't use your divine power to block it. The stronger your divine power, the stronger the barrier. We won't be able to go in. We can go in without divine power. Lu Ming reminded them again. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng nodded. They didn't use their divine power to block it and stepped forward. With a poof, the three of them seemed to have passed through a layer of bubbles. The next moment, they arrived in a dark tunnel. The three of them were stunned. There was really a formation here. The previous ones were all illusions. Lu Ming couldn't help but be amazed by the wonders of the formation. The more divine power was used, the stronger the barrier. When ordinary people encountered such a barrier, they would subconsciously use their divine power. That way, they wouldn't be able to pass through. Only by not using divine power could they pass through the formation. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng looked at Lu Ming curiously. In their hearts, Lu Ming was becoming more and more unfathomable. Is Lu Ming really an outer disciple who just joined the sect? Yu Linglong blinked her big eyes and took a few more glances at Lu Ming. Of course, she wasn't interested in Lu Ming. She was just curious. Let's be careful, Lu Ming reminded them. The three of them retracted their auras and walked deeper into the tunnel. The tunnel was quiet and very long. The three of them walked for a few thousand meters before reaching the end. They arrived at a huge underground cave. The cave was empty. Only an altar attracted their attention. The altar was engraved with densely packed runes that looked like miniature true dragons that were entwined together. At the top, there was a piece of blood jade. There were actually small blood dragons swimming in it. There were different kinds of gemstones embedded in other parts of the altar. They were of different colors. That's a rainbow divine stone. Suddenly, Yu Linglong exclaimed. Her eyes lit up as she stared at the 7 colored gemstones. Rainbow divine stone? Lu Ming was puzzled. He had never heard of such a gemstone. It's really a rainbow divine stone. The rainbow divine stone can be used to refine a type of healing pill. It has a strong recovery effect on the divine body. It can even heal the injuries of a heaven god. It can be sold for a high price. Yu Linglong's eyes lit up. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then his eyes lit up. To be able to concoct a healing divine pill that could even help heavenly gods, its value was definitely extremely high. The higher the cultivation, the stronger the divine body. Once injured, it would be harder to recover. Chapter 27:12. The stronger one's cultivation was, the harder it was to recover from injuries. For example, Lu Ming had cultivated the indestructible Heaven Scroll, which was a heavenly skill in the heaven world. No matter how serious his injuries were, he could recover quickly. His vitality was shockingly strong and he was known to be immortal. However, it was only effective for those below the demigod realm. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached level 7 empty god realm and his divine body was strong. Now that he was injured, using the indestructible Heaven Scroll to heal his injuries would be ineffective. It was the same for healing elixirs. For those with higher cultivation, it was naturally more valuable. The rainbow sacred stone could be used to refine elixirs that were useful for heavenly gods. Its value was unimaginable. Kid, wait a minute. Don't go over. At this moment, the voice of the measure formula suddenly rang out. Lu Ming jumped and quickly shouted. Wait a minute. Don't go over. The reason for that was because at that moment, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were about to approach the altar to retrieve the 7 colored divine stones. After being shouted by Lu Ming, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were shocked and stopped in their tracks. What's wrong? Yu Linglong asked. Shaking his head, Lu Ming did not speak. In fact, he did not know what was in front of them. There is a large array in front. Once you step in, you will be trapped by the array. The measure formula said. It's another array. Lu Ming frowned. The array in the primitive universe was far more mysterious than the primordial realm. With Lu Ming's attainments in array formations, he could not see through it. If there is an array, how do we get the nether dragon blood jade? Lu Ming asked the measure formula with his mind. Of course we have to find the formation eye of the grand formation and break it. Hey, you were familiar with that formation guy back then, so you should have some understanding of formation Dao. Can you break it and find the formation eye of this grand formation? The measure formula asked the battle formula. Lu Ming's heart jumped. Array. Could it be another origin ancient word, array? As soon as he heard those words, he could tell that it was incredibly useful in the field of formations. You talk too much. I'm looking for it. The battle symbol Jew's deep voice rang out. Hey, what are you talking about? What nonsense? You better make it clear to me today, or else I won't let you off. The measuring character formula shouted. The entire character was jumping as if it was going to pounce on the battle character formula. Lu Ming was speechless. A single word could actually give birth to such a weird personality. The battle character formula didn't bother with the measure character formula. It seemed to be sizing up the formation, looking for a way to crack it. Ha ha ha, someone's finally here. Right at this moment, laughter suddenly rang out from within the cave. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng jumped in fright. They hadn't expected there to be someone else in the cave. Who? Yu Linglong shouted. The three of them looked behind the altar. At that moment, a figure walked out from behind the altar. This person had actually been hiding behind the altar. Just now, the altar had blocked this person's figure. Moreover, his aura was concealed very well. They didn't discover him at all. This was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was very handsome and had an extraordinary bearing on him. Moreover, the aura exuding from this person was extremely powerful. He was also a true God realm existence. There was actually someone who had already entered here. Junior brothers and sisters, I'm Sky Star. The young man cupped his fists and said, What? You said you're Sky Star? Impossible. Yu Linglong cried out in disbelief when she heard this name. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng were a little surprised. Why would Yu Linglong have such a big reaction when she heard this name? Moreover, she revealed an expression of disbelief. Junior sister, I'm indeed Sky Star, the young man said with a smile. Linglong, who is Sky Star? Wu Zifeng asked. 100,000 years ago, the number one on the Kongxian school's empty god list was called Sky Star. However, 100,000 years ago, the Nether Dragon secret realm opened. Sky Star entered the Nether Dragon secret realm and never returned. Everyone thought that he had fallen. Yu Linglong said, the number one on the empty god list 100,000 years ago. Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed. Could this person really be Sky Star? Junior brothers and sisters, I'm indeed Sky Star. 100,000 years ago, I entered the Nether Dragon secret realm and didn't fall. I just missed the time to leave because I wanted to obtain the treasures here. Junior brothers and sisters, you've come at the right time. There's a 7-colored divine stone and a Nether Dragon blood jade on this altar. They're both priceless treasures. However, they're inlaid on this altar and are difficult to remove. Junior brothers and sisters, please lend me a hand and remove them. We'll split them equally. Sky Star said. Don't believe him. There's a large array here. This kid is trapped by the array and can't get out. Once you get close to the altar, you'll also be trapped by the array and share his pressure. That way, he'll have a chance to break out of the array. The quantifying character formula called out. The quantifying character formula had been around for a long time. Although it wasn't proficient in arrays, it still had a good eye. Wait a minute. Lu Ming stopped Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, who were ready to move. He then looked at Sky Star and said, Senior Brother Sky, since the 7-colored divine stone and Nether Dragon blood jade are so difficult to remove, why don't you leave with us first and call for more helpers? It'll be much easier that way. No. Sky Star said, the treasures are limited. How are we going to split them if we call for more helpers? Junior brothers and sisters, don't hesitate. I've studied this altar for 100,000 years and am very familiar with it. As long as we work together, we'll definitely be able to take the treasures on it. Is that so? Lu Ming smiled faintly, which surprised Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Why aren't you helping me yet? Void Star shouted, clearly impatient. Haha, you don't need to shout. I can already see that there's a large array here. You're trapped by it and can't get out. That's why you've been trapped for 100,000 years. If we go forward, we'll also be trapped by the array. At that time, we'll help you share the pressure and you'll be able to escape, right? Lu Ming said with a smile. What? Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's expressions changed. On the other hand, Sky Star's face turned sullen. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to tell what was going on and see through his intentions. Don't guess blindly. Come over quickly and take the treasures here together. Sky Star's voice became louder, and there was an unquestionable majesty in it. Back then, He was ranked first on the empty god list and was the top person in the outer sect. Naturally, he had an imposing manner. Back then, there were very few people in the outer sect who dared to go against his will. However, Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng were all extraordinary people. How could they care about him? Not only did the three of them not advance, they even retreated a few steps. Good, very good. If you won't come in, then I'll pull you in, Sky Star said coldly, completely turning hostile. A powerful aura erupted from his body. Chapter 27:13. Sky Star had completely turned hostile as he unleashed a terrifying aura that surged towards Lu Ming's group. Third level True God Realm. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng's expressions changed. Sky Star's cultivation was not at the first level True God Realm, but the third level True God Realm. Even though he had been trapped by the array in the Nether Dragon's secret domain for many years, his cultivation had still broken through and reached the third level True God Realm. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Sky Star attacked. With a wave of his hand, his palm prints filled the sky and enveloped Lu Ming's group. Attack! Yu Linglong shouted and immediately attacked. She did not dare to be careless in the slightest when facing Sky Star. She immediately attacked with her full strength. At the same time, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng also attacked. All kinds of attacks collided with Sky Star's palm prints. Boom, boom, boom. Intense rumbling sounds could be heard coming from the cave as all sorts of attacks exploded out. Shockwaves spread out in all directions, shattering Void Star's palm imprints. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng were forced to retreat. Sky Star was indeed worthy of being ranked first on the empty god list 100,000 years ago. His battle strength was shocking and ordinary supreme talents could not compare to him. If he had not been trapped by the array, his cultivation would not have reached the third level True God Realm and would have reached a shocking realm. However, Lu Ming and the other two were also very powerful. When Sky Star exchanged blows with the three of them, he was also forced to retreat a few steps. You have some strength. Sky Star's eyes were filled with shock. He did not expect Lu Ming's group to be able to block his attack. 100,000 years ago, in the Kongxian School's outer area, he had no opponents who were at the same level as him. Now, his cultivation was far above Lu Ming's group, but he was not able to suppress them. This was beyond his expectations. Let's see how many of my moves you can block. Get over here. Sky Star shouted coldly as he stepped forward. He stretched out his palm and a series of palm prints appeared and blasted towards the three. The power of each move was stronger than before and gave off a strong pressure. Yu Linglong's and Wu Zifeng's faces turned grave as they circulated their divine power to the maximum. As for Lu Ming, he continuously activated the battle formula. Boom! After continuous attempts, Lu Ming finally activated his tripled combat strength. Whoosh! Lu Ming cast the first move of the three destructive strikes, sky-piercing. In an instant, spear gleams appeared in the void like meteors, colliding with Sky Star's palm print. Whoosh! 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 He had to admit that the Sky Star was indeed very powerful. Lu Ming sensed a gush of terrifying energy surging toward him. He retreated hurriedly. The qi and blood in his body were surging and he almost vomited blood. What Suemo did not know was that Sky Star was even more shocked. Although he did not use his full strength, he was a level 3 true god. His attack was blocked by Lu Ming alone, and Lu Ming was only a level 7 empty god. I never thought that such a powerful genius would appear in the Kongxian school after I was trapped for 100,000 years. But today, your days will come to an end. Sky Star's eyes were filled with murderous intent and deep jealousy. Yes, jealousy. It was obvious that Lu Ming's combat ability and talent were far above his. He wanted to kill him completely. Whoosh! He moved and was about to pounce on Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the other two gathered together and planned to give it their all. However, just as Sky Star was close to them, runes suddenly appeared on the ground. These runes were dazzling and filled with energy. It was extremely strange. At the same time, runes also appeared on Sky Star's body. They were exactly the same as the runes on the ground. These runes were like tentacles that wrapped around Sky Star's body tightly. Sky Star's pouncing figure came to an abrupt halt in the air and could not move forward. He is trapped by the array and can't leave the range of the array. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he said to Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, "Damn it! Sky Star roared and unleashed his full strength. He wanted to break out of the array but to no avail. He could not break out of the array's obstruction. It seems like you can't get out. Lu Ming sneered and mocked. All of you, hurry up and get over here. Help me break this damned formation. Otherwise, when I get out, I'll tear all of you to pieces. Seeing that he couldn't escape, Void Star roared madly and began to threaten them. You still want to come out? Now, you are a fish on the chopping block. Instead of begging us, you are threatening us. You are digging your own grave. Lu Ming said coldly. I heard that Sky Star is a narrow-minded person who takes revenge. 100,000 years ago, he was not the first on the Kongxian school's empty god list, but it was another person. He killed that person and took the first place. If we don't kill him today, he will definitely take revenge on us when he comes out. Yu Linglong said coldly. Then get rid of him. Wu Zifeng said. Since they had offended someone like Sky Star, they had to get rid of him. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble in the future. Attack! Lu Ming immediately attacked. Standing in the distance, he attacked with a spear light and attacked Sky Star. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also attacked. They used their killing moves and attacked Sky Star. Sky Star made a move to block the attacks of Lu Ming and the other two. You want to kill me with just the three of you? Dream on! Sky Star shouted coldly. His eyes were extremely ferocious and evil. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming and the others into pieces. Lu Ming and the other two kept attacking, but they were all blocked by Sky Star. Their cultivation was not as good as Sky Star's. Moreover, they were attacking from a distance, so their attack power was naturally reduced. Lu Ming frowned. In this way, it was indeed difficult for them to kill Sky Star. If they could not kill Sky Star, they would not be able to get the Nether Dragon Blood Jade and the Rainbow Divine Stone. This large formation has a few Death Formation eyes. Once attacked, the formation's power will increase sharply. Lu Ming, attack the Death Formation eyes. At this time, the voice of the battle character manual sounded. He finally found some of the formation eyes of this large formation, and immediately instructed Lu Ming on how to attack. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He changed the direction of his spear and the spear light changed direction. Instead of attacking Sky Star, he attacked an empty space. Boom! When Lu Ming's spear light attacked that empty space, the runes of the large formation suddenly shone brightly and became more powerful. At the same time, the runes wrapped around Sky Star's body also became more powerful. They were like steel cables that tightly tightened, trying to break Sky Star's body into pieces. Ah, what's going on? Damn it, what did you do? Sky Star suddenly screamed in horror. Then, his body trembled and he vomited blood. Dang! Lu Ming said coldly. He attacked again, attacking the Death Formation eyes of the large formation, increasing the power of the large formation. Sky Star could not bear it anymore. Cracks appeared on his body and he vomited blood. He was seriously injured. Chapter 27:14. A large array would usually have a life gate or a death gate. These life gates and death gates could also be used as the array eye. The life array eye and the death array eye. Attacking the life array eye would break the large array, but attacking the death array eye would trigger the power of the large array, making it even more terrifying. Lu Ming was attacking the death array eye of this large array, making the power of the large array even more terrifying. The Sky Star could not withstand it at all and was severely injured in an instant. Save me, save me! Void Star roared in horror. His eyes were filled with deep unwillingness. Go in peace, Lu Ming said coldly. Since he had offended such a person, he had to get rid of him. Otherwise, he would only bring trouble to himself. Swoosh! Lu Ming continued to attack the Death Array eye. Ah! Sky Star screamed in despair and roared, You will die a horrible death. You will die a horrible death. In the next moment, the large array shone. Under the power of the large array, Sky Star's body exploded and turned into dust. Sky Star, the #1 supreme talent on the Kongxian school's empty god list 100,000 years ago, had died under the large array. This guy is finally dead. Yu Linglong heaved a sigh of relief. Sky Star was indeed powerful. If it were not for the large array blocking him, the three of them would not be his match even if they joined forces. After all, Sky Star's cultivation was at level 3 true god. Lu Ming, can you understand this large array? Wu Zifeng looked at Lu Ming and asked. A little. Lu Ming nodded and did not say much. He then scanned the ground. At the same time, the battle word manual told him the location of the life array I. Breaking the life array I will not completely break the large array. It will only suppress it for a short period of time. You only have 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you must leave the range of the large array. Otherwise, you will be trapped. The battle word manual said. 10 minutes is enough. Lu Ming muttered. He then started to attack the life array I according to the battle word manual's instructions. Bang, bang, bang. One attack after another landed on the ground, but the ground only emitted a slight sound. Those attacks were like stones sinking into the sea. However, the runes on the ground dimmed and then disappeared. The formation is being suppressed. Let's hurry up and take down all the rainbow divine stones within 10 minutes. Lu Ming shouted and dashed toward the altar. He grabbed at the nether dragon blood jade with his palm. His goal this time was the nether dragon blood jade. Bang! The nether dragon blood jade was firmly embedded into the altar. Lu Ming's grab was actually unable to grab it. It only caused the altar to shake. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also rushed over and tried to grab a rainbow immortal stone. However, they didn't manage to grab it because it was embedded firmly. This was also because the formation was being suppressed. If the formation wasn't suppressed, they would have been stopped by the formation and wouldn't be able to do anything to the nether dragon blood jade or the rainbow divine stone. If we can't take it down, why don't we just destroy this altar? Yu Linglong suggested. Okay, destroy it. Lu Ming nodded. They only had 10 minutes, so they had to end this quickly. The three of them retreated a few steps, and each of them unleashed their strongest attacks. 3 attacks blasted towards the altar. Boom, boom, boom. The altar shook violently, and a crack appeared on its surface. It was effective. The 3 attacked even harder. In less than 2 minutes, the entire altar exploded with a boom. The nether dragon blood jade and the rainbow divine stone flew out. Lu Ming's figure moved like an arrow and flew out, grabbing the nether dragon blood jade in his hand. At the same time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also reached out and grabbed the rainbow divine stones. Wang! At this moment, the entire cavern began to shake. Then, on the ground and on the walls of the cavern, numerous runes suddenly appeared. Then, a yellow liquid suddenly appeared on the ground. Sizzle! The feet of the 3 were touched by the yellow liquid, making sizzling sounds and wisps of green smoke. The corrosiveness of this liquid was shockingly strong. One had to know that the 3 of them were surrounded by divine power, but this liquid could even corrode their divine power. If it landed on their bodies would be directly corroded. The 3 of them were shocked and immediately flew up. However, the amount of yellow liquid on the ground was increasing, as if it was constantly emerging from the ground. It's the God-transforming corpse water. An array within an array. There's actually an array within an array here. Can't you see it? In his mind, the measuring character formula shouted. I'm not a professional. The fighting character formula replied. The measuring character formula was so angry that he was trembling. Let's go, let's leave first. Lu Ming roared. The yellow liquid was increasing. Once it filled the entire cave, they would be in danger. The 3 of them immediately rushed towards the entrance of the cave. However, when they got close to the entrance, a light screen spread out and blocked them. Clearly, this was also a part of the array. Break it! Yu Linglong shouted and kept attacking, but the light screen didn't budge. Then, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng also attacked, but the result was the same. They couldn't break it at all. Ha ha ha, you still want to leave? Let's die together and be buried together with me. A sharp and crazy laughter sounded. Sky Star. Lu Ming and the other 2's faces changed. This voice was obviously Sky Star's, but wasn't Sky Star already dead? At this moment, the place where the altar was just now shown and a figure emerged. It was Sky Star. However, Sky Star wasn't real at this moment, but a phantom. A wisp of remnant soul. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Now he understood that Sky Star had indeed perished. However, because he had been trapped in the spell formation for 100,000 years, he had formed a connection with it. After being killed by the spell formation, a wisp of his soul had fused with it. You can't escape at all. Die, die, all of you will die here. Sky Star's eyes were full of madness. He raised his hands, and the runes in the cave shone brighter. The yellow liquid came out faster from the ground, and soon, it was a meter deep. Lu Ming and the other two could only hover in the air to avoid it, but they couldn't go on like this. This is the God-transforming corpse water. Its corrosive power is terrifying. With our cultivation base, we can't block it at all. What should we do? Yu Linglong's face was a little pale. Continue to attack the light screen. Lu Ming shouted and continued to attack the light screen. Now, they could only get out by breaking this light screen. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng also joined in the attack. Chapter 27:15. Battlestar. Hurry up and find the eye of the formation. Otherwise, these guys will die here and we will be buried here. I finally found a guy who is somewhat pleasing to the eye. I can't let him die like this. The measure formula kept urging the battle formula. I'm looking for it. Cut the crap and I'll find it faster. The battle formula said unhappily. The measure formula immediately shut up. It's useless. It's useless. You guys can't get out. Stay here and be buried with me. Ha ha ha. Sky Star laughed maniacally. He did his best to stimulate the formation, causing it to emit resplendent light. At this moment, it wasn't just inside the cave, but outside the cave as well. In fact, when Lu Ming and the others destroyed the altar just now, there was a strange sound outside. A beam of light shot up to the sky. It could be seen even from far away. At the same time, the illusion formation that prevented Lu Ming and the others from entering also disappeared. The lake disappeared and was replaced by a peak that reached into the clouds. At this moment, the entire peak was shining brightly. What's that over there? Such a shocking phenomenon. There must be a treasure appearing. Let's go and see. Let's go and see. Everyone who saw this strange phenomenon rushed over. In the cave, Lu Ming and the others were still bombarding the light curtain. However, it was almost useless. The light curtain was still motionless. The God transformation corpse water in the cave was increasing. It was almost half of the cave. What should I do? Am I going to die here today? I don't want to be submerged by the God transformation corpse water. If I'm submerged by the God transformation corpse water, I won't be able to find my body. Yu Linglong was about to cry. He was scared to death at the thought of being submerged by the God transformation corpse water. Don't attack first. Save your strength, Lu Ming said. Since they couldn't break it open, they wouldn't attack. When the battle formula found the eye of the formation, they would concentrate all their strength to attack it. Die. Seeing that Lu Ming and the others couldn't break it open, Empty Star screamed crazily. The God-transforming corpse water in the cavern quickly filled 2/3 of the cavern. The space that Lu Ming and the other two could move about in was getting smaller and smaller. Found it. Lu Ming, you guys attack a spot 3 feet to the left. Quick. At this moment, in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, the voice of the battle character manual rang out. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he shouted, "Attack the left side together." Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming used his full strength, directly activating the battle character art to triple his combat strength. He pushed his divine power to the limit, and then used the first move of the 3 Armageddon Strikes Space Splitter. A dazzling spear light blasted towards the left side of the light screen. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng did not suspect anything and attacked with all their might. Boom, boom, boom. 3 consecutive powerful attacks landed 3 feet to the left of the light barrier. The light barrier violently shook, and this time, a crack appeared on the light barrier. It's effective, continue. Yu Linglong was exhilarated. The 3 of them attacked with their strongest moves again, and the cracks on the light barrier increased. No, impossible, no! Empty Star roared crazily, his face distorted to the extreme. Now, he was only left with a wisp of soul, and it would not be long before this wisp of soul completely disappeared. He was unwilling to accept this, and wanted to drag Lu Ming and the other 2 down with him. But now, Lu Ming and the other 2 seemed to be escaping. Lu Ming and the other 2 did not bother with Empty Star, and continued to attack. After a few more moves, the light barrier exploded with a bang. Let's go! With the light barrier shattered, Lu Ming and the other 2 rushed out of the passage without hesitation. Damn it! Empty Star roared, and the God-transforming corpse water surged, splashing onto the walls above the cavern. Those walls were directly corroded and turned into ashes. Rumble! The entire mountain shook violently, and it seemed like it would collapse at any time.
Lu Ming and the other two exerted all their strength, and quickly rushed out of the passage. As soon as they rushed out, the three of them frowned and stopped, because there were many people floating in the air outside, blocking the way.
"It's him, it's Lu Ming," someone shouted, recognizing Lu Ming.
These people were attracted by the strange phenomenon here, and they did not expect to see Lu Ming and the other two running out of the mountain as soon as they arrived.
"Lu Ming, what did you get in there? Show me."
A young man in golden robes stepped out, his eyes flickering as he stared at Lu Ming and the other two and said coldly,
"Ingtsong." Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Ingtsong was from the Tenho Seiko faction. Back then, he had asked someone to invite Lu Ming to join the Tenho Seiko faction, but Lu Ming had rejected him. At that time, Lu Ming did not know Ingtsong's identity.
Later, he found out that Ingtsong was ranked 4th on the empty god list, and also the top expert of the Tenho Seiko faction in the outer sect.
"Ingtsong, are you thinking too much? What did I get? Why should I show it to you?" Lu Ming sneered, not giving Ingtsong any face. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he did not fear anyone in the outer sect.
However, the others did not know Lu Ming's combat strength, and they were all shocked at this moment.
"This Lu Ming is really bold. How dare he speak to Ingtsong like this? He's overestimating himself. He's just courting death." Some people sneered in disdain. Sure enough, Ingtsong's eyes darkened. Back then, when Lu Ming had rejected his invitation to join the Tenho Seiko faction, he had wanted to kill Lu Ming. He had ordered the people from the Tenho Seiko faction to kill Lu Ming when they had the chance outside. However, when they went to the Jiwu forest to train, the people from the Tenho Seiko faction had indeed attacked Lu Ming, but they had all died in the hands of Lu Ming. This had enraged Ingtsong, and he had been looking for a chance to kill Lu Ming personally. Now he finally had the chance. Someone who has just entered the sect doesn't know how to respect your seniors. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of the sect. Ingtsong said coldly as he took a step forward. A powerful aura burst out and pressed down on Lu Ming. First level True God Realm. Without a doubt, after Ingtsong had entered the Nether Dragon's secret territory, his cultivation had also broken through and reached the first level of the True God Realm. With his battle prowess, breaking through to the first stage of the True God Realm was slightly stronger than Kwang Dao. However, Lu Ming did not put him in his eyes at all. Just as Lu Ming was about to make a move, rays of light flew over from afar. More people had arrived. Among them, there were a few rays of light that were shockingly fast and emitted a shocking aura. In the blink of an eye they had arrived. The people at the front were all young men and women. Each of them had an extraordinary aura and were dragons and phoenixes among men. It's Feng Yuan Dao, ranked 2nd on the empty god list. There's also Guangzi, ranked 3rd on the empty god list. Li Kunshan, ranked 7th on the empty god list. Around them, many people exclaimed and widened their eyes. This was because the people who had just arrived were too powerful. They were all outer disciples of the Kongxian school and were ranked in the top 10 of the empty god list. Usually, any one of these people would be able to dominate the outer disciples. However, they had arrived one after another. Chapter 27:16. Seeing Feng Yuandao, Feng Zi, Li Kunshan and the others, Ingtsong's face turned solemn as he stopped moving towards Lu Ming. "Ingtsong, you're quite early. Why? Did you find anything?" Feng Yuandao looked at Ingtsong with a strange light flickering in his eyes. Obviously, Feng Yuandao suspected that Ingtsong had obtained something. Ingtsong's complexion changed. He reluctantly squeezed out a smile and said, "Brother Feng must be joking. How could I have any harvest? I also just arrived. As for these people, they just came out from that mountain. I'm interrogating them right now." Ingtsong did not dare to offend Feng Yuandao. Feng Yuandao's background was not any weaker than his. At the same time, Feng Yuandao's battle strength was above his. He had fought with Feng Yuandao a few times and lost every single time. When he was at the 9th empty god realm, Ingtsong only had the experience of defeating a true god realm expert. But Feng Yuandao had the battle record of killing a true god realm expert. Defeating and killing were two completely different things. Oh! Feng Yuandao turned his gaze towards Lu Ming, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. When he saw Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, his eyes narrowed. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were both at the first rank of True God realm. Obviously, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong had broken through after entering the Nether Dragon's secret realm. To be able to do so, they were definitely experts amongst experts. On the other hand, Lu Ming, an empty God realm expert, was ignored by him. How should I address the two of you? Feng Yuandao cupped his fists towards Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng.
Yu Linglong.
Wu Zifeng. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng replied. Feng Yuandao.
Feng Zi, Li Kunshan, Ying Tsong and the others frowned as they had never heard of the two of them in the outer sect.
Gentlemen, what did you obtain in there?
Feng Yuandao narrowed his eyes and asked.
What did we get? It has nothing to do with you. Yu Linglong said. What do you mean it's none of your business? Don't you guys know that? Ying Tsong's reprimand made Yu Linglong frown. Rumble. Right at this moment, a loud rumbling sound came from the mountain.
Then with a loud boom it exploded.
The mountain peak exploded and shattered rocks flew everywhere. There was even some divine transformation corpse water among them. Not good, quickly dodge. Lu Ming shouted. Together with Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng, their figures flickered as they dodged the splattering corpse water. However, there were still people who were splashed by the god-transforming corpse water. Their bodies were corroded, and they let out miserable shrieks. However, after a few moments, the shrieks came to an abrupt end, because their entire bodies had been corroded to the point that not even dregs were left. The others were shocked and tried their best to dodge. After everything calmed down, they stopped with lingering fear. However, there were at least 5 to 6 outer disciples who had died under the god-transforming corpse water. You guys are so vicious. You knew that there was danger inside, but you didn't warn us. Are you trying to trick us? Ying Tsong stared coldly at Lu Ming and the other two, directly putting a label on them. Trick you guys? You think too much. Linglong, brother Wu, let's go. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with Ying Tsong and the others. He flew forward, wanting to leave. You want to leave? Hand over what you got before you leave. Ying Tsong shouted coldly. He stretched out his hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. His palm emitted a dazzling golden radiance as if it was made of gold. Get lost. The one who made the move wasn't Lu Ming, but Yu Linglong. A soft whip appeared in her hand. The soft whip was like a poisonous snake, curling towards Ying Tsong. Bang! The two of them collided. With a loud bang, Yu Linglong retreated 3 steps. However, Ying Tsong retreated 5 steps, which was more than Yu Linglong. What? The others were shocked and looked at Yu Linglong in shock. Yu Linglong actually had such strong combat strength. Not only could she block Ying Tsong's attack, but Ying Tsong also retreated more than her. Where did this genius come from? At the side, Feng Yuandao, Madman, Li Kunshan, and the others' faces turned solemn. Ying Tsong also looked at Yu Linglong in shock. After the collision, he knew how powerful Yu Linglong was. Even if he went all out, he might not be a match for Yu Linglong. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to leave by yourself. Ying Tsong turned his gaze and looked at Feng Yuandao and the others, wanting to drag them down with him. Is that so? At this moment, Wu Zifeng spoke. He stepped forward and a shocking aura burst out from his body. Wu Zifeng's aura was stronger than Yu Linglong's, which shocked the others. It's really lively today. At this moment, a cold voice sounded in the sky. Then, a young man stepped on the air and stood above the crowd. This was a young man from the Winged Men tribe. He had a pair of purple wings and a tall figure. His aura was strong and he carried a sense of arrogance. It's the Winged Demon, the Winged Demon. Many people exclaimed. Even Feng Yuandao, Madman, and Ying Tsong's faces changed drastically. There was no other reason. The Winged Demon was too famous in the Kongxian school's outer sect. He was above everyone. The number 1 on the empty god list, the Winged Demon. That guy is here too. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Of course, he had heard of the number 1 on the empty god list. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, rays of light flew over from afar. There were more and more people here. In just a short while, there were already a few hundred people gathered. It's Wang Gao. There's Ming Jiao. Many people exclaimed. There were too many experts and a few of them were among the top 10 on the empty god list. The crowd was shocked to find that 9 of the top 10 on the empty god list were here. Other than Madman, almost all of them were here. When these people knew that Lu Ming, Yu Linglong, and Wu Zifeng had just come out from the mountain, they all looked at Lu Ming and the other two. They even moved slightly and surrounded Lu Ming and the other two to prevent them from escaping. Yes, we can't let them escape. We can't let them escape. At this moment, a sharp voice sounded. It came from the mountain that had just exploded. Everyone couldn't help but look in that direction. There were still rays of light shining from the mountain. Then, a figure appeared. It was Sky Star's remnant soul. Who is that? Many people didn't recognize Sky Star and were surprised. You're Sky Star? When the winged demon saw Sky Star, he shouted in shock. He couldn't hide the shock on his face. The winged demon had seen Sky Star before. 100,000 years ago, when Sky Star was still around, he was the #1 on the empty god list. If Sky Star hadn't disappeared, the winged demon might not have been the #1 on the empty god list. What? Sky Star? The #1 on the empty god list 100,000 years ago? Hearing the winged demons shout, many people recalled. It can't be. It's really him. Didn't they say that he was dead? He's not dead. Many people exclaimed in shock. Chapter 27:17. Sky Star. Feng Yuandao, Feng Zi, Li Kunshan, Ying Cong, and the others all looked at Sky Star in shock. They had never imagined that they would meet such a legendary figure here. Winged Demon, we meet again. Looks like you've improved a lot. Sky Star glanced at the winged demon and said. Then, he looked at Lu Ming's group with a ferocious expression. You can't let them go. They have obtained a supreme treasure. What? Supreme treasure? Many people were shocked. They looked at Lu Ming and the other two, their eyes burning with excitement. Do you know why I disappeared for 100,000 years? It was because I wanted to obtain the treasure here. Unfortunately, I was careless and was trapped by the formation. I didn't expect it to be obtained by him. Sky Star sighed and pointed at Lu Ming. At this point, his body twisted. He hated Lu Ming the most. Lu Ming had seen through his scheme and used the death formation eye of the formation to harm him. All of this was because of Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming's end to be extremely miserable. His remnant soul could not hold on for long and was about to dissipate. Thinking that he was about to vanish, his hatred for Lu Ming's group became even more intense. That is a supreme treasure. Once you obtain it, you will definitely soar into the sky and dominate the Qin heavenly starry sky in the future. It will depend on who is fated to obtain it. Ha ha ha. After saying that, Void Star's body exploded with a bang and turned into ashes, completely disappearing into thin air. However, his words ignited the flames in everyone's hearts. Those were the flames of desire. No one doubted Sky Star's words. Sky Star had stayed here for 100,000 years for that treasure. That was 100,000 years. If the treasure was not precious, why would he stay here for 100,000 years? What kind of treasure could make Sky Star go crazy for it? Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, everyone erupted with a shocking aura. With the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others in the lead, they suppressed Lu Ming's group. Especially Lu Ming. Because Sky Star had clearly stated that the treasure was in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming, hand over the treasure. Ying Cong could not bear it any longer and took the initiative to attack. His entire body was covered in a golden light as he pounced towards Lu Ming. Ying Cong, your opponent is me. Yu Linglong brandished her soft whip, which transformed into thousands of whip shadows that swept towards Ying Cong. Bang, bang. The two continued to exchange blows. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. The result was that Ying Cong was forced back 1,000 meters, his hands trembling. He was no match for Yu Linglong. Hand over the treasure. Today, no one can protect you. The winged demon spoke coldly. He looked down from above and stepped towards Lu Ming. Boom. In the final step, the sole of his foot burst forth with astonishing power. His divine power was like raging waves that pressed down on Lu Ming. They were both first-level true gods, but the winged demon's strength was indeed astonishing. Just this move alone was much stronger than Crazy Dao's. Kongxian School's #1 on the empty god list. I'd like to see how strong you are. Wu Zifeng's eyes burst forth with resplendent radiance. His body charged upwards and his finger was like a sword as he pointed it out. Swish! Swish! Xueqi swept out and collided with the winged demon's attack. A shocking explosion erupted, and the two figures retreated slightly. What? He's so strong? Everyone looked at Wu Zifeng in shock. Wu Zifeng could actually fight with the winged demon. Where did this supreme talent come from? You're not from the Kongxian school? The winged demon looked at Wu Zifeng with a grave expression.
Of course not,
Wu Zifeng said.
His battle intent was even stronger, and his divine power was like an avalanche.
Sacred divine power. This person is the same as the winged demon. He controls sacred divine power. This person isn't from the Kongxian school, but he can enter the Nether Dragon's secret territory. Which force does he come from?
Many people guessed. Today you want to protect the treasure with just the two of you?
You're too naive,
the winged demon said coldly as he glanced at Feng Yuandao and the others. Feng Yuandao, Crazy Dao, Li Kunshan and the others couldn't wait any longer and they all charged towards Lu Ming.
Brat,
hand over the treasure and I'll spare your life,
Li Kunshan roared, taking the initiative to attack. His divine item was a warhammer, and as he swung it, it caused the void to explode. Its power was shocking. The giant hammer smashed towards Lu Ming. It was as if in the next moment, Lu Ming would be smashed into meat paste. However, Lu Ming's face was calm. He took a step forward and threw out a punch without even taking out a weapon. He wanted to use his fist to take on Li Kunshan's giant hammer. This brat is courting death. Some people shook their heads. As soon as Lu Ming attacked, they could see that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 7th level of the Empty God Realm. It was already good enough for a 7th level of the Empty God Realm to enter the Nether Dragon's secret territory. However, he dared to take on Li Kunshan's giant hammer. Wasn't he courting death? However, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were calm. They knew how terrifying Lu Ming's battle strength was. Dong! Lu Ming's fist accurately collided with Li Kunshan's giant hammer. It was as if two stars had collided, causing a loud explosion. However, the result made everyone's jaws drop. After the collision, the one who retreated was Li Kunshan, while Lu Ming's figure only swayed slightly. How is this possible?
At this moment, the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, Song and the others' pupils contracted as they revealed an expression of disbelief.
Lu Ming was actually able to take on Li Kunshan's attack with his bare hands. Even the winged demon couldn't do it. Lu Ming was only at the 7th level of the Empty God Realm. How could he have such powerful battle strength? Li Kunshan himself was also in a daze. I don't believe it. Storm God Hammer. Li Kunshan roared as he raised his giant hammer and attacked Lu Ming like a storm. A divine weapon appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was a middle rank 1 divine weapon. Wang. Lu Ming swept out his spear. The long spear carried a terrifying power as it flew towards Li Kunshan. Boom. The two collided for the second time. However, this time, Li Kunshan grunted as he was pushed back and spat out a mouthful of blood. This. Everyone was dumbfounded as they thought they were dreaming. Lu Ming was actually suppressing Li Kunshan. In a head-on collision, Li Kunshan spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Li Kunshan was ranked 7th on the Empty God list. His battle strength far surpassed other experts of the same level. Moreover, his cultivation had already broken through to the 1st level of the True God Realm. Even with such battle strength, he wasn't a match for Lu Ming. What kind of monster was this? At this moment, the winged demon, Feng Yuandao and the others had grave expressions. Let me tell you. I have indeed obtained a treasure, but it isn't that precious. However, I know that no matter what I say now, you won't believe it. Since you want the treasure, then I'll accompany you in a battle today. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand as he looked around and said, Miss Linglong, Brother Wu, both of you stand down. If they want to fight, I alone am enough. Chapter 27:18. I alone am enough. Lu Ming's words exploded in many people's hearts, causing them to be stunned. Lu Ming's words clearly meant that he wanted to challenge all the experts at the scene. Oh my God! Many people shouted in their hearts. If this news were to spread, it would shake the outer sect. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's eyes flashed, but they did not object. In a flash, they retreated to the side. Everyone, this kid is too arrogant. Since that is the case, how about we teach him a lesson? Song's gaze shifted. To be honest, from the combat strength that Lu Ming had displayed, Song had no confidence in facing Lu Ming alone.
Since Lu Ming was arrogant, he had a reason to join forces with the others.
That's right. This kid took the treasure and wants to keep it for himself. Today, there is no need to talk about the rules.
Let's suppress him together and force him to hand over the treasure.
Feng Yuandao said coldly. Frenzy, Li Kunshan, and the others stepped out and surrounded Lu Ming. Finally, even the winged demon did the same. His purple wings flapped and his body was covered in purple radiance. He looked extremely majestic as he appeared in front of Lu Ming. He was surrounded. There were a total of 9 people surrounding Lu Ming. These 9 people were the top 10 on the empty god list. Other than Frenzy, all of them had taken action. The others could only retreat far away. They wanted to intervene, but they could not because Feng Yuandao and the others were true gods. The top 10 on the empty god list had entered the true god realm. The 9 experts surrounded Lu Ming, and Lu Ming was only a level 7 empty god realm martial artist. Such a thing had never happened in the history of Kongxian school. I have to say that this Lu Ming is indeed a peerless genius. He is only a level 7 empty god realm martial artist and he is able to suppress Li Kunshan. His combat strength is terrifying. However, he is too arrogant. He actually wants to challenge 9 experts at the same time. It's impossible for him to win. Even the divine sons of the 3 overlords would be crushed in such a situation. The difference in cultivation is too great. It's impossible for him to win against 9 of them at once. That's right, you're overconfident. Many people were discussing this matter. Lu Ming, hand over the treasure and I'll spare your life. The winged demon said coldly. With so many people attacking at the same time, it would not be good for his reputation. If he could make Lu Ming hand over the treasure, he would not attack. However, Lu Ming obviously wouldn't agree. Make your move. If you can defeat me, I will give you all of my treasures. However, since you have attacked, you will have to pay the price. Lu Ming said coldly. Price? What a joke. You. Kneel down. Song was the first to attack. He looked like a golden man. With a move, he appeared in front of Lu Ming and pressed down on Lu Ming with a palm. A golden palm print pressed down on Lu Ming with frightening might. He was ranked 4th on the empty god list. His combat strength was even stronger than Kwang Dao. Bas! The long spear in Lu Ming's hand trembled slightly due to the crazy influx of divine force. Then the long spear stabbed out towards Song. Puff! The golden palm print that Song had sent out was shattered. The sharp spear light continued to pierce towards Song. Song's face changed drastically and he quickly retreated. However, he was still a step too late. His palm was pierced by Lu Ming's spear light and exploded. Ah! Attack! Attack together! Song screamed. He circulated his divine body and allowed his shattered palm to recover quickly. Attack! Feng Yuandao and the rest attacked at the same time. All kinds of shocking attacks flooded towards Lu Ming. Only the winged demon's eyes flashed. He hesitated for a moment and did not attack. With so many people attacking at the same time, the power was terrifying. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. In an instant, Lu Ming triggered the double combat strength of the battle character art. Almost at the same time, the triple combat strength was successfully triggered. Before he made his move, Lu Ming had already triggered 3 times his combat ability. Therefore, once he made his move, he successfully triggered 3 times his combat ability. Swoosh! 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 Lu Ming's long spear stabbed out, sending out more than 10 spear lights that collided with the attacks of Feng Yuandao and the rest. A series of explosions rang out between heaven and earth. Lu Ming was pushed back by the force. However, he had successfully blocked so many attacks. He blocked it. Oh my god! When the others saw this scene, they were almost scared to death. Their eyeballs were about to pop out. Lu Ming actually blocked the attacks of Feng Yuandao and the rest in a head-on collision. What kind of combat strength was this? Even Feng Yuandao and the rest were shocked to the extreme. Your combat strength is only a... Now it's my turn. Lu Ming's indifferent voice rang out. A reddish gold armor appeared on his body. Kneel for me. Lu Ming used the 9-layer reddish gold armor to protect himself. He ignored the attacks of the others and rushed towards Song. Song was the most arrogant. Lu Ming had to deal with this person first. Boom! Lu Ming swept out with his spear. The spear light was like a mountain, causing the air to explode. This caused Song's expression to change drastically. Attack, attack together. Ing Tsong roared. Then, he retreated frantically. Both of his hands continued to attack. In an instant, hundreds of golden palm prints were blasted out. However, these palm prints collapsed under the pressure of Lu Ming's spear light. Attack! Feng Yuandao and the rest launched a second round of attacks. But this time, Lu Ming didn't dodge. He planned to take it head-on. Boom! Boom! Feng Yuandao and the rest's attacks landed on the reddish-gold armor, causing it to tremble violently. It seemed like it would collapse at any moment. But in the end, it was blocked by Lu Ming. And Lu Ming's spear had already landed on Ing Tsong's body. Bang! Ing Tsong screamed miserably. His entire body was sent flying diagonally. Then, he crashed heavily on the ground, creating a huge pit. Continue attacking. He can't block it anymore. Feng Yuandao roared and launched another attack. Attacks continued to bombard Lu Ming. Come on! Lu Ming's eyes revealed a crazed look. He still used the reddish-gold armor to block. He wanted to use his opponent to temper his armor. Only then could he improve quickly. Boom! 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 The continuous attacks landed on the reddish-gold armor. A few cracks appeared on the armor. Lu Ming's body was also sent flying. The direction he flew was the same direction that Ing Tsong was sent flying. At this moment, Ing Tsong was lying on the ground and vomiting blood. When he saw Lu Ming flying over, he was almost scared to death. Boom! Lu Ming swept his spear down from a high vantage point, crushing his opponent. The earth trembled. 100-mile-long spear scar appeared. It also looked like a valley. Ing Tsong was lying inside. All the bones in his body were broken. He couldn't move at all. Although he didn't die, he had lost the ability to fight. The battle had just started, and one of them was crippled by Lu Ming. This caused many outer court disciples to be dumbfounded. Chapter 27:19. His defensive divine skill is too sturdy. Wing Demon, why aren't you making a move? Are you waiting for him to defeat us one by one? Feng Yuandao suppressed the shock in his heart and looked at the Wing Demon. Just now, the Wing Demon had not made a move. The Wing Demon frowned and then flapped his wings. He turned into a purple lightning and charged towards Lu Ming. Quick, attack together. Feng Yuandao shouted and continued to attack Lu Ming with the others. The show has just begun. Sky-piercing. Lu Ming directly used the Annihilation 3 strikes. This attack was aimed at the Wing Demon. Lu Ming was now in his peak state. How strong was his combat strength? Although the Wing Demon's combat strength was terrifying and his cultivation was at the first level of True God Realm, his actual combat strength far exceeded the first level of True God Realm. However, compared to Lu Ming, there was still a gap. An incomparably resplendent spear light shot towards the Wing Demon like a flying immortal, causing the Wing Demon's expression to change. This move made him feel a fatal threat. Wings breaking 1,000 army. The Wing Demon roared. His purple wings were like heavenly blades as he slashed out crazily, forming an endless sharp blade storm that swept towards Lu Ming. Dang! 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 Intense collision sounds rang out. The two of them exchanged over 100 moves in an instant, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Break! Lu Ming's voice rang out. The spear light surged and suddenly suppressed the sharp blade storm. The sharp blade storm formed by the Wing Demon was constantly destroyed. Then, his body shook violently and flew backwards. His face was somewhat pale and filled with shock. He was actually not a match for Lu Ming and was suppressed. Continue! Lu Ming shouted. His spear light was like a rainbow as he continued to attack the Wing Demon. As for the attacks of the others, he completely ignored them. Among these people, the Wing Demon's combat strength was undoubtedly the strongest and the most threatening to him. As long as he suppressed the Wing Demon first, it would be much easier for the others. Boom! Boom! Feng Yuandao and the others' attacks landed on Lu Ming's crimson gold armor, causing a violent explosion. Although cracks appeared on the crimson gold armor, it was still blocked. Lu Ming's attack was aimed at the Winged Demon. The Winged Devil did his best to fight with Lu Ming, but the result was that he retreated repeatedly. The surrounding outer sect disciples were all dumbfounded. This is too terrifying. Lu Ming can actually fight the Winged Devil, Feng Yuandao, and the others at the same time. Most importantly, he even has the upper hand. How terrifying. Is he still human?
There's actually such a monster in this world.
If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Third strike of annihilation. Sky-piercing. Lu Ming once again used the world-destroying 3 strikes. The sky-lifting spear light swept out in all directions, crushing the winged devil. This time, the winged devil was unable to block it. Its attack was broken by the spear light, and it heavily bombarded its body. Bang! The winged devil's body was thrown out, vomiting blood. However, before he could stabilize his body, Lu Ming attacked again.
With a thrust of his spear, it pierced through the winged devil's chest.
The winged devil screamed in pain. Purple feathers flew out from his wings, and he couldn't even float in the air. His body fell to the ground heavily. The winged devil was severely injured.
Not good.
Feng Yuandao, Li Kunshan, and the others were shocked. The winged devil was defeated. Their minds were shaken, and even their attacks stopped. They retreated one after another with a look of horror on their faces.
Now it's your turn.
Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and looked at Feng Yuandao and the others. He was like an invincible god of war, and his battle-intent sword. When he cast the battle word incantation, his fighting spirit was already extremely strong. Coupled with Lu Ming's prowess from defeating the winged demon, Feng Yuandao and the rest did not have the slightest bit of fighting spirit. This is a misunderstanding. I have no intention of fighting for the treasure. Goodbye. One of them actually wanted to retreat, leaving behind a sentence, and turned to leave. You attacked me so many times just now, and now you want to leave?
Did I let you leave?
Say. Lu Ming shouted coldly. His divine force burst out, and his body rushed out like a cannonball. He pressed his long spear, and a spear light pressed down on that person like a mountain, sealing off all his escape routes. You're too arrogant. That person roared and used all his strength to resist. However, Lu Ming's current battle strength was too strong for him to resist. He was directly smashed to the ground by Lu Ming.
He vomited a large mouthful of blood, and his body twitched.
He was seriously injured. After suppressing that person, Lu Ming twisted his body, and the momentum of his spear changed, and he attacked the others again. Because the others all wanted to retreat, they already knew that they were definitely not Lu Ming's opponent today. Leaving was the best plan. However, how could Lu Ming let them escape? Boom! Lu Ming's spear was aimed at Li Kunshan. Li Kunshan roared. His pair of giant hammers danced wildly, and instantly blasted out 1,000 hammer strikes. However, even if he used all his strength, it was difficult to resist Lu Ming. He followed in the footsteps of the previous few people and was injured by Lu Ming. Go! Feng Yuandao and the others did not dare to stay and wanted to escape. This battle is not over yet. Where are you going? Wu Zifeng's figure flashed, blocking in front of Feng Yuandao. Get lost for me! Feng Yuandao roared and launched an attack at Wu Zifeng. However, how powerful was Wu Zifeng? He could not rush out at all. On the other side, Yu Linglong took out 2 soft whips and waved them with both hands. The sky was full of whip shadows, entangling the other few people. As for Lu Ming, he took the opportunity to launch an attack. Even the winged demon could not block Lu Ming's attack in a head-on battle. These people were not Lu Ming's opponent. One by one, they were suppressed by Lu Ming. Not long after, including Feng Yuandao and the others, the top 9 on the empty god list were all seriously injured by Lu Ming. They fell to the ground and could not get up, no longer having the strength to fight. Gulp gulp. Many people swallowed their saliva desperately. Their eyes were full of horror and disbelief. Lu Ming had actually defeated 9 of the top 10 on the empty god list, including the winged demon. Such combat strength was unprecedented. Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? Now that we have lost, I don't want the treasure. You can let us go now. Ing Tsong roared. Let you go? Ridiculous. Lu Ming sneered. Previously, I have said that if you want to attack me, you have to be prepared to pay the price. Lu Ming walked towards Ing Tsong. Ing Tsong's face changed drastically as he roared. Lu Ming, you dare to kill me? Let me tell you, an inner sect elder has secretly accepted me as a disciple. If you kill me, my master will not let you go. Many people's hearts moved, but they were not surprised. Some of the top ranked on the empty god list had amazing talent. Usually, before they were promoted to inner disciples, they would be fancied by some inner sect elders and secretly accepted as disciples. Only when they were officially promoted to inner disciples would they be announced. It was normal for Yingtsong to be accepted as a disciple by an inner sect elder. Not only Yingtsong, but the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, Feng Zi, Li Kunshan, and the others had also secretly accepted a master. Who said that I want to kill you? Hand over your storage ring. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Chapter 27:20. What? You want my storage ring? No, impossible. Hearing Lu Ming's words, Yingtsong cried out hysterically. Most of his wealth was in the storage ring. Furthermore, there was also the beast core of the nether dragon that he had killed in the nether dragon mystic realm this time, as well as the dragon bone of the dragon bone flower. They were all in the storage ring. If he gave them to Lu Ming, how was he going to live? He would become a pauper in an instant. If you lose now, I can kill you at any time. But if you die, your storage ring will still be mine. Do you understand? Lu Ming said coldly. Don't even think about it. Let me tell you, unless you kill me, I won't give my storage ring to you. If you have the ability, then kill me. Kill me. Do you dare? Yingtsong roared. He had already become an inner sect elder's disciple. He was certain that Lu Ming wouldn't dare to kill him. He wouldn't give it to him. Let's see what Lu Ming would do to him. Whoosh! Yingtsong hadn't even finished his words when a spear light burst out and directly pierced through Yingtsong's glabella. Puff! The spear light directly pierced through Yingtsong's forehead, nailing him to the ground. Why you? Yingtsong's eyes widened as he stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. His eyes were filled with disbelief, fear, and unwillingness. In the end, his vision turned black and he lost consciousness. Yingtsong was dead. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air as they looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming actually dared to kill Yingtsong. Yingtsong was a genius ranked 4th on the Nihility God list. Moreover, he had been accepted as a disciple by an inner sect elder. But now, he was killed by Lu Ming in front of everyone. Audacious. Simply audacious. Everyone now knew that not only was Lu Ming strong, but he was also a lawless person. I've already given you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. I've already said that if I kill you, your storage ring will still be mine. Lu Ming mumbled as he grabbed Yingtsong's storage ring with a wave of his hand. Hearing Lu Ming's words, the hearts of the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others twitched. Originally, they had the same plan as Yingtsong. If Lu Ming wanted their storage rings, they would rather die than comply. They all had great backgrounds and didn't believe that Lu Ming would dare to kill them in public. But now they had changed their minds. They had no doubt that if they disobeyed Lu Ming would really dare to kill them. Now, hand over your storage rings. As expected, Lu Ming's gaze swept over the winged devil, Feng Yuandao, and the others, making them wail in their hearts. Lu Ming, here you go. The winged demon was the most decisive. Gritting his teeth, he took off the storage ring and threw it to Lu Ming. Then, he staggered in a certain direction. Lu Ming accepted the storage ring and did not stop him. What about you guys? Lu Ming then looked at Feng Yuandao, Madman, Li Kunshan, and the others. Feng Yuandao, Madman, Li Kunshan, and the others were about to cry. Their hearts were bleeding. It was too late for them to regret. This time, they had really suffered a double loss. They didn't get the treasure, but they had to pay with all their belongings. If they knew that this would happen, if they knew that Lu Ming was so abnormal, they would definitely not find trouble with Lu Ming. Hurry up. Don't be so wishy-washy like a woman. Quickly hand it over. I don't have time to waste with you guys. Lu Ming berated. Feng Yuandao and the others were about to cry. In the end, they were extremely unwilling. They took off the storage ring slowly and handed it to Lu Ming with a heart that was like being cut by a knife. Get lost. After receiving the storage ring, Lu Ming was in a good mood and waved his hand. Feng Yuandao and the others were as if they had been pardoned and left one by one. You guys are still not leaving? You want to hand over the storage ring, right? Lu Ming's gaze looked at the other outer disciples. The outer disciples' faces changed drastically and they ran away, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. At the scene, only Lu Ming, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong were left. Lu Ming's body trembled and he almost couldn't stand still. Lu Ming, are you all right? Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng hurried over. I'm fine. I just used too much divine power and am exhausted. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. In the previous battle, Lu Ming had used the 9-layer crimson gold armor and the apocalyptic 3 strikes consecutively. The consumption of divine power was shocking. After all, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at level 7 empty god realm. Just now, if his opponent had held on for a while longer, Lu Ming would not have been able to continue fighting. When I go out this time, I must store more divine power in the quantifying formula, Lu Ming pondered. Let's leave this place and find a place to recover, Wu Zifeng said. Then, he and Yu Linglong took Lu Ming and left the place. After finding a remote place, Lu Ming took out the divine crystals and absorbed the divine aura in them to recover his divine power. After a few hours, Lu Ming had recovered to his peak condition. He was full of energy and felt that his cultivation had improved. Miss Linglong, Brother Wu, these storage rings are for you. Lu Ming took out the storage rings that he had obtained from Feng Yuandao and the others and threw them to Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. No, you obtained them with your own combat strength. How can we take them? Yu Linglong said and wanted to return the storage rings to Lu Ming. That's right, we can't take them. Lu Ming, you can keep them for yourself. Wu Zifeng also refused and returned the storage rings to Lu Ming. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were firm. Lu Ming did not force them and kept the storage rings. There were still a few days before the 3-month deadline. In the next few days, the few of them rushed towards the exit and hunted the netherworld dragon beasts and dragon bone flowers. The exit was at the edge of the netherworld dragon secret territory. In the blink of an eye, a few days passed and Lu Ming and the others arrived at the exit. A large number of outer sect disciples had already gathered here. At one glance, Lu Ming saw the winged demon, Feng Yuandao, and the rest. Right now, their injuries had already recovered. However, after seeing Lu Ming, their expressions changed. That's Lu Ming. The Lu Ming who defeated the winged demon and the other 9 experts? When Lu Ming arrived, almost all the outer disciples looked at Lu Ming. There were only a few hundred people present in the previous battle. But now, the news had spread to all the outer disciples who had entered the netherworld dragon secret territory. Is this true? A rank 7 empty god realm martial artist defeated the winged demon and the other 9 experts? It can't be fake, right? Many people did not see it with their own eyes and found it hard to believe. But when they saw that the winged demon, Feng Yuandao and the others did not deny it, they knew that it was most likely true. Rumble. Not long after, a huge whirlpool appeared in the sky. This was the exit. Shush, shush, shush. The winged demon, Feng Yuandao and the others rushed out of the exit. Then the others followed suit. Let's go, Lu Ming said as he, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng rushed into the whirlpool and disappeared. Chapter 27-21. After leaving the Nether Dragon secret realm, Lu Ming bid farewell to Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng headed to the mission hall, ready to exchange the Nether Dragon's beast core and dragon bone flower for points. Of course, Wu Zifeng wasn't from the Kongxian school, so he couldn't exchange them for points. He gave the beast core and dragon bone flower to Yu Linglong for Yu Linglong to exchange them for points. Lu Ming didn't go directly to the mission hall, mainly because he still needed to organize the storage rings that he had obtained from the winged demon and the others. However, Lu Ming didn't return to the outer sect. Now that he had caused such a big commotion, if he returned to the outer sect, it would definitely alarm the outer sect. It would be troublesome then. Lu Ming found a random spot in the inner sect area. He then took out his storage ring and began to tap it lightly. Divine crystals were piled up like mountains, and there were also plenty of refining materials, as well as low-grade divine artifacts of various grades. Little ball for you to eat. Now, Lu Ming was rich and overbearing. He took out a few low-grade level 9 divine weapons and gave them to Little Ball. Previously, Little Ball had been in the form of a bracelet, wearing it on Lu Ming's wrist. Now it had turned into a ball, hugged the divine weapons, and started munching on them. All these years, Lu Ming had not stopped feeding Xueqi. Xueqi's ability had been improving. Now, it had reached level 8 of the Void God realm. It was very powerful and could fight with those who were ranked at the top of the Void God list. As Little Ball ate, Lu Ming started counting the Nether Dragon's beast core and dragon bone flower. There were 9 storage rings, including Crazy Dao's. It could be said that this time, all the storage rings of the top 10 geniuses on the empty god list were in Lu Ming's hands. These geniuses were all very powerful and had gained a lot.
The Nether Dragon's beast core and dragon bone flower from the 10 of them added up to more than 3,000. If they were exchanged for points, it would be 300,000 points. In addition, Lu Ming's own Nether Dragon core and dragon bone flower could be exchanged for around 60,000 points. Great harvest. This was truly a great harvest. As expected of the top 10 empty gods on the empty god list, the 10 of them had gathered such a great harvest. It had to be known that Lu Ming and the others were able to hunt large amounts of nether dragons and dragon bone flowers because of the nether dragon blood curse in Lu Ming's body. As for the others, they had to rely on themselves to find them, which was much more difficult. The winged demon and the others had contributed so much, which was already very good. Saint grade divine arts, mystical arts, and secret arts. Here I come. Lu Ming laughed in his heart, then put away Xueqi and headed toward the mission hall. When the people from the mission hall saw Lu Ming take out so many nether dragon cores and dragon bones, they almost fell over in fright. In their shock, they exchanged them for points for Lu Ming. 360,000 points. Lu Ming had exchanged a total of 360,000 points. Satisfied, he left the mission hall and headed toward the hidden scripture pavilion. The people guarding the hidden scripture pavilion were still the same old men. Senior, I would like to exchange for a saint-grade divine art. Can I? Lu Ming cupped his fists towards an old man. You want to exchange for a saint-grade divine art? The old man looked at Lu Ming in surprise. That's right. Lu Ming nodded his head. Exchange, you can exchange for it, but you can only exchange for the first few levels. It's not very useful and the price is very high. Do you really want to exchange for it? The old man asked again. There were very few people who came to the hidden scripture pavilion to exchange for a saint-grade divine art. This was because the saint-grade divine art could only be exchanged for the first few levels. It wasn't very useful, but the price was shockingly high. Almost no one would exchange for it. Senior, I want to exchange for the first level mainly because I want to study it. Please help me. Lu Ming said sincerely. According to the rules, you can exchange for it. Since you insist, this old man won't stop you. Here are the introductions of a few saint-grade divine art. Take a look. The old man gave Lu Ming a jade talisman. Lu Ming took it and looked at it carefully. There were a few simple introductions of a few saint-grade divine art. They were all powerful and had their own merits. Senior, I'll choose the first level of the ultimate chill divine art. Lu Ming said after returning the jade talisman to the old man. He had his eyes on a saint-grade divine art called the ultimate chill divine art. If the ultimate chill divine art was cultivated to the peak, one could cultivate saint-grade divine art. The ultimate chill divine art was extremely powerful and could freeze everything. The reason why Lu Ming chose this ultimate cold divine technique was that he had previously cultivated a king-grade divine technique, the Han Bing divine technique. With the Han Bing divine art as a foundation, the speed of cultivating the ultimate chill divine art would be faster. Okay, give me your identity token in exchange for the first level of the ultimate chill divine art. It costs 50,000 points. The old man said. Lu Ming gave the identity token to the old man. The old man took it and swiped it on a disk array. Lu Ming lost 50,000 points. The price was really expensive. If it wasn't Lu Ming, no one else would exchange for it. However, Lu Ming didn't have the slightest reluctance. One had to know that if he obtained the first level, it was equivalent to obtaining the entire ultimate chill divine art. This is the first level of the ultimate chill divine art. Take it. Then, the old man took out a scroll from his storage ring and handed it to Lu Ming. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming received it happily and kept it in his storage ring. Then, Lu Ming walked into the scripture depository and looked around. This time, the first thing he wanted to do was to exchange for a saint-grade divine art. In addition, he also wanted to exchange for a divine skill and a secret skill. Now that he had the quantum formula, he could store divine power in it. In the future, he could use divine skills to his heart's content. Naturally, he wanted to cultivate another divine skill. He wanted to find a speed divine skill to cultivate. At his level of cultivation, the incomplete rock wing technique that he had previously cultivated was no longer of much use. What others cultivated were complete speed-type divine techniques. His speed could no longer keep up with others. Lu Ming looked around and soon, he came to the 4th floor. There were level 7 or level 8 divine skills here. 9 Heavens Rock Technique. Suddenly,
Lu Ming saw a speed divine skill called the Nine Heavens Rock Technique. His eyes immediately lit up. The Nine Heavens Rock Technique was a level 7 speed divine skill. Once it was used, one's speed would be as fast as a rock. The Kuan Peng was not an ordinary giant rocks. Even in the untainted universe, the Kuan Peng was a terrifying existence. It was said that a newly born Kuan Peng could travel freely in the universe and travel between different star areas at an unimaginable speed. This Nine Heavens Rock Technique was not complete. It seemed to be incomplete and only had the first 7 levels. There seemed to be more after that, but it had been lost. The exchange price was 30,000 points. This is it. Lu Ming decided to exchange for the Nine Heavens Rock Technique. Now that he had a speed divine skill, the next step was the secret skill. Lu Ming came to the 5th floor. Chapter 27-22. On the 5th floor, there were only a few 9th level divine skills and a few secret techniques. There was a huge difference in the value of secret skills. Some of the cheaper secret skills were very cheap. For example, the transformation skill that Lu Ming had bought previously could conceal the color, aura, level, and so on of divine power. This kind of secret skill was of little value to most people. Therefore, the price was not high. However, some secret techniques were shockingly expensive. For example, the secret techniques on the 5th floor of the Kongxian School Scripture Depository were all very precious and useful. The cheapest secret technique cost 100,000 points. Lu Ming looked through them one by one. He was very tempted by many of them. However, not all the secret skills were suitable for him. In fact, there were many secret arts that had very strict cultivation conditions. There were all kinds of restrictions. For example, some secret skills required a corresponding amount of divine power, or some special materials, or some requirements for the divine body, and so on. The more powerful the secret technique, the more stringent the requirements. Therefore, many people who could cultivate one or at most 2 kinds of secret techniques were already amazing. Generally, it was impossible for them to master too many secret techniques. Ice shackles. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a secret technique called ice shackles. This kind of secret technique required one to control extreme cold divine power to cultivate. Lu Ming had cultivated the Frost Divine Formula before, and now he had exchanged for the first level of the Frost Divine Formula. As long as he could cultivate extreme cold divine power, he would be able to cultivate the ice shackles. Once the ice shackles was successfully cultivated, it would form several ice shackles with astonishing power. It had the effect of attacking and trapping enemies. Moreover, as one's cultivation increased in the future, its power would also increase. However, the price of the exchange was shocking. It required 250,000 points. 250,000. Lu Ming's heart ached. Lu Ming only had slightly more than 370,000 points. He had obtained 360,000 points from this trip to the Nether Dragon's secret domain. He had more than 10,000 points left, so he had a little more than 370,000 points. He had used 50,000 points to exchange for the Frost Divine Formula, and 30,000 for the Nine Heavens Garuda art. If he continued to exchange for the ice shackles, Lu Ming would only have a little more than 40,000 points left. Yes! Lu Ming clenched his teeth and decided to exchange. The remaining 40,000 points were enough for the time being. The key was to convert them into strength. After making his decision, Lu Ming went to the door and exchanged for the 9-layered Kuan Peng technique and freezing ice chains from the old man. When the old man saw that Lu Ming was only a level 7 empty God realm martial artist, he was shocked as well. He guessed that Lu Ming might be a disciple of some big shot in the Kongxian school. After successfully redeeming the 9-fold Kuan Peng technique and chilling ice chains, Lu Ming went straight to the Holy Vein Tower to cultivate. In a secret room in the Divine Vein Tower, Lu Ming sat cross-legged. He took out the first level of the ultimate cold divine technique and started to comprehend it. Lu Ming only started to cultivate after he had more or less understood everything. It was indeed very difficult to cultivate the sacred grade divine art. Even the first level was the easiest. Given Lu Ming's talent, he had to cultivate for a few months before he succeeded in cultivating it. After cultivating the first level, Lu Ming's body produced a strand of ultimate cold divine force. Immediately, Lu Ming started to circulate the universe 10,000 Dao technique. Just like that, the ultimate cold divine force became thicker and thicker. In the end, a divine flame was formed in Lu Ming's elixir field. The fifth divine flame was formed by the ultimate cold divine force. The ultimate cold divine force was a divine-grade divine force and its power was shocking. Swoosh! Lu Ming circulated the ultimate cold divine force and waved his hand. His palm was covered with a layer of ultimate cold divine force and it was extremely cold. The temperature in the secret room dropped sharply and it was bone-chilling. With such a temperature, even an empty God realm expert would be frozen if he were to come in. What a strong power! No wonder it is a divine-grade divine force. Lu Ming smiled. He was satisfied with the power of the ultimate cold divine force. Now, he had 5 divine forces in his body. The power of the ultimate cold divine force was second only to the sovereign divine force. The Eldritch universe was completely different from the primordial realm of the heaven realm. When he was in the primordial realm of the heaven realm, Lu Ming had mastered many laws. He had also mastered the ice force. However, the ice force was only the ice force of the primordial realm of the heaven realm. It was produced by the heaven path of the primordial realm of the heaven realm. The heaven path of the primordial realm of the heaven realm was useless to the Eldritch universe. Even though Lu Ming had mastered the mysterious destiny law, space-time law, and chaos law in the heaven realm of the primordial realm of the heaven realm, they were based on the heaven path of the primordial realm of the heaven realm. In the Eldritch universe, there were naturally divine laws of the Eldritch universe. Those divine laws were useless in the Eldritch universe. The power that was controlled in the Eldritch universe and the divine force was the supreme power. For example, if the ultimate cold divine force that Lu Ming had cultivated struck the primordial realm of the heaven realm of the primordial realm of the heaven realm of the primordial realm of the heaven realm of the evil god world would be frozen. Even the heavenly Tao would be sealed in ice. Whether it was the destiny law or space-time law, it would be useless. They would all be frozen. This was because the power that belonged to the Eldritch universe, the supreme power of the Great Thousand World. Continue to cultivate. Lu Ming closed his eyes and continued to cultivate. The divine flame of the ultimate cold divine force had just been ignited. It was not as strong as the other divine flames and it needed time to grow stronger. Time flew by and Lu Ming had cultivated in the divine vein tower for 10 years. In 10 years, Lu Ming had finally cultivated the divine flame of the ultimate cold divine force to the same size as the other divine flames and the same density of divine force. Lu Ming's cultivation had also improved and he was close to level 8 empty god realm. Without a doubt, Lu Ming's strength had become stronger. If he were to fight with the winged demon, Feng Yuan Dao and the others, Lu Ming would win easily. Lu Ming did not leave immediately. Instead, he started to store divine force in the measure character formula. When his divine force was depleted, Lu Ming would absorb divine force from the outside world to replenish it. Then, he would continue to store divine force in the measure character formula. A year later, Lu Ming left the divine vein tower and went to another place to cultivate. He started to cultivate the 9 heavens Kuanpeng skill and the ice chain. After cultivating the ultimate cold divine skill and the ice chain, it was not too difficult. Soon, he had succeeded in cultivating them. In a spacious area, a large group of desolate beasts charged towards Lu Ming. They wanted to kill Lu Ming. This was a place to cultivate divine skills. This place was within a large array. These desolate beasts were naturally formed by the array. However, their combat strength was shocking and they were not afraid of death. Ice chain. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He waved his hand and a few chains flew out from his body. These were chains that were formed by the ultimate cold divine force and they were solid. Swoosh. Swoosh, swoosh. 9 chains danced in the air and bound 9 desolate beasts tightly. The terrifying icy cold energy was about to freeze the desolate beasts. Chapter 27-23. Roar, roar. The 9 wild beasts roared crazily as they struggled to break free from the chains. These 9 wild beasts had the strength of a level 1 true god. Of course, they were only ordinary level 1 true gods and could not be compared to the winged demon and the others. However, the 9 ice chains let out creaking sounds, as if they couldn't hold on any longer. Condense! Lu Ming constantly manipulated the ice chains, trying to bind the 9 dire beasts to death. However, as the dire beasts struggled, the creaking sounds of the ice chains became louder and louder. In the end, with a loud bang, the 9 chains exploded. Roar! Roar! The 9 wild beasts roared as they charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out a long spear and stabbed out 9 times, killing the 9 wild beasts. Sigh, it seems like the frost divine force alone is not enough to cultivate the frost chains to its maximum power. Lu Ming sighed. According to the ice chains, if one wanted to master the technique and unleash the full power of the ice chains, they would need some special materials. Without these materials, the frost chains would be like having no foundation and would break with one strike. It would be difficult to unleash its maximum power. According to the frost chain's secret technique, the best material to cultivate the frost chains was the cold moonstone. The cold moonstone contained the frost chi and could allow the frost chains to reach its maximum level. Lu Ming left the cultivation ground and went to the library. After reading a large number of books, he found out that the cold moonstone was extremely rare and precious. It was almost extinct in the Qin Tian star field and only the ice spirit race had it. However, the ice spirit race was one of the strongest races in the Qin Tian star field. There were many races in the Qin Tian star field, but only 2 of them were the strongest. One of them was the ice spirit race. The ice spirit race was stronger than the Kongxian school. They were even stronger than any of the 3 overlords. They could only compete with the ice spirit race if a few of them joined forces. This showed the ice spirit race's strength. As for the cold moonstone, it was an extremely precious treasure of the Ice Soul clan. It was easier said than done to obtain it. It seems like I can only put the ice shackles aside for now. I'll go to the Ice Soul clan and find a way to get some cold moonstones when my cultivation level increases. Lu Ming pondered, then returned to the place where he cultivated the divine skill and focused on cultivating the divine skill. Cultivation knew no time. In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. In these 20 years, Lu Ming had wholeheartedly practiced all kinds of divine skills and had made great progress. The 9 layers of crimson gold armor had reached the 3rd layer, and the 3 strikes of annihilation had also broken through to the 3rd layer. As for the speed-type divine skill 9 Heavens Garuda art, Lu Ming had cultivated it to the 2nd layer. On the other hand, Lu Ming's cultivation level increased steadily and he was slowly approaching the peak of Empty God Realm. When one reached the advanced level of the Void God Realm, it would take thousands or tens of thousands of years to advance to the next level. It was good enough that Lu Ming could advance to the peak of the 8th level of the Void God Realm within 20 years. Moreover, the chances of activating the combat character secret art to triple his combat strength had also increased to a quarter. Out of the 4 activations, he would succeed once. My cultivation level has reached the peak of rank 7 Empty God Realm. Why don't I break through to rank 8 Empty God Realm in one go? Lu Ming pondered. He then went to the Divine Vein Tower and tried his best to break through to the next rank. After a few months, Lu Ming succeeded. Lu Ming's cultivation level had reached rank 8 Empty God Realm and his combat strength had increased greatly. Lu Ming was satisfied. After a few days of consolidation, he walked out of the Divine Vein Tower. As soon as Lu Ming walked out of the Divine Vein Tower, he saw a familiar person. It was the Outer Elder, Xueqi. Lu Ming, I've been waiting for you for a few days. If you didn't come out in a few days, I would have gone in to call you. Xueqi smiled. Apparently, Xueqi knew that Sumo was cultivating in the Divine Vein Tower through the guards. It was not difficult to find out. Elder Hua, is there anything I can help you with? Lu Ming asked. It's not me. It's the sect leader. He wants you to do something for him. Xueqi said. Long Zhoushan is finally looking for me. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. It had been a few decades since Long Zhoushan had placed the Dark Dragon blood curse on him. In the past few decades, Long Zhoushan had not looked for Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming knew that it was only a matter of time before Long Zhoushan came looking for him. Why is the sect leader looking for me? Lu Ming asked. I want you to complete a mission related to the Ice Soul clan. Moreover, you won't be going alone this time. There will be some people going with you. As long as you complete this mission, you will receive a huge reward. Each of you will be rewarded with 20,000 points. Xueqi said. I'm going to the Ice Spirit Tribe to complete a mission. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. What a coincidence. Only the Ice Spirit Tribe had the Cold Moonstone. Lu Ming had planned to go to the Ice Spirit Tribe after his cultivation was higher. It would be best if he could break through to the True God Realm. However, it seemed that he would have to go there earlier. That's good too. I can see if I can get some cold moonstones. As for the 20,000 points, Lu Ming did not care too much about it. It was just a matter of convenience. How many people from the Kongxian school are going with you? Lu Ming asked again. This time, all the inner disciples who are below 10,000 years old will be going. There are a total of 9 of them. Including you, there will be 10 of them. Moreover, You will be the team leader this time, Xueqi said. At this point, Xueqi sized Lu Ming up carefully. There was deep shock in his eyes. As an outer sect elder, of course, he knew that Lu Ming had single-handedly fought against 9 of the top 10 virtual gods in the Nether Dragon mystic realm. When he first heard about it, he was shocked. His first reaction was disbelief. When he saw Lu Ming's cultivation rank, he was shocked again. Rank 8 Empty God Realm. He remembered clearly that when Lu Ming had won first place in the assessment of the 13 sects, he was only a demigod. It had only been a few decades and Lu Ming's cultivation rank had shot up to rank 8 Empty God Realm like a rocket. No wonder the sect leader wanted to meet him personally. He is indeed a demonic genius, Xueqi thought to himself. I am the team leader? Lu Ming was shocked. He had not expected that he would be the team leader this time. That's right. This is the sect leader's order. Also, this is your team leader's token. It represents your authority as the team leader. In this mission, the other 9 people will have to listen to your orders. With that, Xueqi took out a token that was slightly bigger than his palm. The token was golden in color as though it was made of gold. All right. Lu Ming was speechless. He nodded his head and kept the token. Come with me. The rest of them have been waiting for you for 2 days. Xueqi smiled. He turned around and flew in a direction. Lu Ming followed him. In an open space in the inner area, there were 9 youths waiting. There were males and females among the 9 of them. They looked very young and were all below 10,000 years old. Moreover, they were all inner disciples and their cultivation ranks were at True God Realm. To be able to break through to True God Realm below 10,000 years old, there was no doubt that they were the cream of the crop. Chapter 27-24. These 9 people were going to the Ice Soul tribe with Lu Ming to carry out the mission. However, the 9 of them were getting impatient at this moment. Who is our leader? How arrogant of him to make the 9 of us wait here for 2 days. One of the young men said unhappily. That's right. Let's see who is so arrogant. Let's see if he's strong enough to convince us. Another young woman also spoke with an impatient look. Although the others did not say anything, their gloomy faces said it all. They're here. Suddenly, one of the young men looked up at the sky. The others followed suit. 2 figures appeared in the sky. They were Lu Ming and Elder Xueqi. Lu Ming and Xueqi landed on the ground. Elder Xueqi. The young men and women cupped their fists at Xueqi and bowed respectfully. They all knew that although Xueqi was only an outer elder, his true identity was the grand disciple of the sect master, Dragon Zhoushan. He was highly regarded by the Dragon Boat Mountain. Now that he was an outer elder, it was just a trial. Even many inner elders were polite to Xueqi, so they did not dare to offend him. No need to be so polite. Xueqi waved his hand and said. The 9 young men stood up and glanced at Lu Ming, ignoring Lu Ming. Elder Xueqi, you said you were going to bring our leader here. Where is he? We've been waiting here for 2 days. That's right. Who is so arrogant that he can't even invite Elder Xueqi? Everyone started to talk. They did not think that Lu Ming was the person they were waiting for. Lu Ming had an identity token on him. They could tell that he was an outer disciple. How could an outer disciple be the person they were waiting for? Moreover, he was their leader. They thought that Lu Ming was just a follower of Xueqi. You don't have to wait anymore. He's here. Let me introduce him to you. This is Lu Ming. He will be your leader for this mission. Xueqi pointed at Lu Ming and said, What? The 9 young men and women were stunned. They stared at Lu Ming and then at Xueqi. Him. Elder Xueqi, are you mistaken? He's just an outer disciple. How can he carry out the mission with us? Won't he be a burden to us? Moreover, he's our leader. What a joke. 2 of the young men immediately yelled. Kid, you'd better hand us your leader's token. That's right. 20,000 points was equivalent to 200 million divine gems. It was a huge sum even for an ordinary inner disciple. They felt that Lu Ming was envious of the reward and hence tagged along to earn points. Greedy? Lu Ming sneered in his heart. He glanced at the 9 young men and women and said, I've received news that I'm the leader of this mission and all of you have to listen to my orders. Why? Are you rebelling now? Bullshit. What rebellion? Don't flatter yourself. Who do you think you are? That's right. Hand over your leader's token and get lost. A few of them were enraged and shouted. A cold aura was directed at Lu Ming. Enough! At this moment, Xueqi shouted and silenced the crowd.
Xueqi glanced at the 9 young men and women unhappily and said, "Let me tell you, this mission was personally assigned by the sect leader.
Lu Ming is the leader and the sect leader personally appointed him. If you have any objections, speak to the sect leader directly."
The 9 young men looked at each other. How would they dare to speak to the sect leader? "Are you doubting the sect leader's judgment?" Xueqi asked again. "We don't dare," the 9 young men and women said hurriedly.
"Since you don't dare, then act according to the order. Let me tell you, in this mission, you have to listen to Lu Ming's orders. Do you understand?"
Xueqi's eyes lit up and he emitted a strong and cold aura. Yes, yes, the 9 young men and women nodded.
However, no one knew what they were thinking. "All right, let's go. I'll take you to the teleportation formation. Then, we'll go through the teleportation formation to the Ice Spirit Tribe," Xueqi said and turned around. The rest of the group followed him. Kongxian School was very far away from the Ice Spirit Tribe. They were separated by many galaxies. Even if they took the teleportation formation, it still took them more than a month. Finally they arrived on a planet. Xueqi did not continue to send them off.
This was the territory of the Ice Spirit Tribe and there would be people from the Ice Spirit Tribe waiting for them.
"Is this the Ice Spirit Tribe?" Lu Ming looked at the members of the Ice Spirit Tribe curiously. The appearance of the Ice Spirit Tribe was not much different from that of the human race. The biggest difference was their hair and pupils. Their hair and pupils were snow white. Their skin was slightly fairer than that of the human race. As they walked, they emitted a cold aura. "Everyone, please follow us." An elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe smiled and led Lu Ming and the rest to the main planet of the Ice Spirit Tribe, the Ice Spirit Planet. After a few days, they arrived at the Ice Spirit Planet. The Ice Spirit Planet, as its name suggested, was sealed in ice. It was a real ice planet. Everywhere on the planet, the temperature was extremely cold. Most of the buildings in the main city of the Ice Spirit Tribe were made of ice that was hundreds of millions of years old. The people from the Ice Soul clan brought Lu Ming and the rest to a hall. This hall was made of ice that had been frozen for hundreds of millions of years. The cold air was oppressive and the temperature was very low. If not for their profound skills, they would have been frozen into popsicles. However, Lu Ming felt very comfortable. He cultivated the ultimate chill divine skill and could control the ultimate chill divine power. As he circulated his divine power, the cold air from the outside constantly flowed into Lu Ming's body. He felt very comfortable. "Young heroes, the Ice Spirit Tribe has invited the Kongxian School and some other prodigies from the Qin Tian 13 sects for this mission. Some of them have not arrived yet, so you will have to wait for a few days. You can stay here for the next few days," the elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe said. "There are people from other sects coming with us?" Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they revealed curious expressions. They were curious as to what the mission this time was. The elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe did not say much. He simply explained a few things and left. After the elder from the Ice Spirit Tribe left, Lu Ming strode into a room. He planned to cultivate while waiting. Chapter 27-25.
Lu Ming, stop right there.
At this moment, a cold shout was heard.
Then, a figure flashed and a young man in a purple robe appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way.
Immediately after, their figures flashed and the other 8 young men and women surrounded Lu Ming. "You're really in a hurry." The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled up slightly. There was a sneer at the corners of his mouth. "Lu Ming, now that Elder Xueqi is not here, no one can protect you. You'd better hand over the captain's flag. You're not qualified to be our captain, do you understand?"
The young man in the purple robe said with contempt.
"That's right. If you hand over the flag obediently, we might let you pass the mission on account that you're from the same sect. You might even get a huge amount of points. Otherwise, we'll have to kick you out." Another young woman was even more domineering and had an arrogant expression on her face. These people couldn't help but make things difficult for Lu Ming as soon as they arrived at the territory of the Ice Soul clan, demanding that he hand over the captain's flag. "I'm appointed as the captain by the sect leader himself. Are you going to defy the sect leader's order?" Lu Ming said lightly, looking very calm. "Don't use the sect leader's name to pressure us.
There's an old saying, When a general is out in the field, he can't obey the orders of the emperor.
Moreover, this mission concerns all of us. How can we let an outer disciple like you be the captain and endanger our lives? That's right. Moreover, there are people from other sects coming this time. If they know that our Kongxian school's captain is an outer disciple, we'll be laughed at. Why are you talking so much nonsense with him? If he doesn't hand it over, we'll take it ourselves. A few young men said coldly. Some of them were even getting impatient. It's not impossible for me to hand over the flag. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice was suddenly heard. The others laughed disdainfully. They knew that Lu Ming wouldn't dare to disobey them. However, I'm curious. If I hand over the flag to you, who will be the captain?
Lu Ming said with a smile.
Of course I'll be the captain. My cultivation base is the highest here.
A young man with a long face said proudly.
Bullshit. Your cultivation is the highest? What a joke. Have you asked me?
A tall and sturdy young man immediately roared as a powerful aura erupted from his body.
4th level True God Realm. The burly young man exuded a shocking aura. He was at LV4 True God Realm. Lu Ming's eyes moved, revealing a trace of surprise. No wonder he was an elite of the inner sect. He was less than 10,000 years old and his cultivation had reached level 4 True God Realm. With such cultivation, he could be an overlord in the chaotic galaxy. For example, the Yuan Luo Hall's Hallmaster and the Walkabout Sect's Patriarch were both at the 4th stage True God Realm. However, the battle prowess of the Kongxian school's inner disciples was definitely above the Yuan Luo Hall's Hallmaster and the Walkabout Sect's Patriarch. Do you think I'm afraid of you? That long-faced youth also erupted with a shocking aura from his body. He was similarly a 4th level True God, contending with the tall and sturdy youth.
The eyes of the others were filled with dread and solemnity.
Don't let this kid drive a wedge between us. He wants to provoke us into fighting. If we want to fight, let's get the command flag first. It won't be too late to do so. At this moment, another young man spoke.
The long-faced youth and the tall and sturdy youth withdrew their aura and looked at Lu Ming.
That's right. Let's get the command flag first, then we'll fight to determine who's the leader. The long-faced youth said. Kid, your provocation is too low level. It's useless against us. Hurry up and hand over the command flag.
Don't waste our time.
The purple-robed youth shouted. The others also stared at Lu Ming with unfriendly looks. Looks like you guys are not too stupid. All right, whoever wants the command flag can come and get it. Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He opened his palms and the flag was in his palms. You're overestimating yourself. How dare you fight with us? I'll teach you a lesson first. The purple-robed youth took the initiative to attack. He took a step forward and waved his hand. His 5 fingers stretched out and grabbed at Lu Ming like a cage. Divine power howled. Before the claw reached Lu Ming, the powerful airflow had already crushed Lu Ming. Its power was shocking. The purple-robed youth was in the 2nd level True God Realm. His cultivation is not bad, but his battle strength seems to be average. Lu Ming's heart jumped and he threw a punch out with his bare hands. This kid actually dares to fight back.
He's overestimating himself.
One move and he'll be kneeling on the ground. The other youths had the same thought in their minds. However, in the next moment, their eyes widened in disbelief. This was because Lu Ming's fist collided with the purple-robed youth's claw. There was a loud explosion and a figure was pushed back. The person who was pushed back was the purple-robed youth. The purple-robed youth staggered back a dozen steps before he could stand firm. You, the purple-robed young man looked at Lu Ming in shock. He simply could not believe it. He was in the 2nd level True God Realm and Lu Ming's aura was only in the 8th level Empty God Realm. He was pushed back by a 8th level Empty God Realm. How could this be? You want to be the leader with such strength? What a joke. Lu Ming smiled disdainfully. Kid, don't be arrogant. I only used 30% of my strength. The purple-robed youth shouted. He had only used 30% of his strength. He thought that 30% of his strength would be enough to deal with an outer disciple. He did not expect Lu Ming's strength to exceed his expectations. I'm sorry. I only used 10% of my strength. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He had only used 10% of his strength. However, how could the others believe him? Shameless boasting. I'd like to see what you're capable of. The purple-robed youth shouted and a ray of sword chi shot up to the sky. A combat sword appeared in his hand and he executed a divine skill. The sword chi whizzed and swept towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's palm glowed and a long spear appeared. The long spear vibrated and swept towards the purple-robed youth. Boom, boom, boom. After a few explosions, the purple-robed youth's sword chi collapsed and the long spear continued to sweep towards him. His body shook violently and he was sent flying by Lu Ming's spear. He crashed into the wall made of ice and almost broke the wall. Puff! The purple-robed youth spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale and he looked at Lu Ming in shock. He had used all of his strength and executed a divine skill. However, he was not a match for Lu Ming's spear and was injured by Lu Ming's spear. How could Lu Ming be so powerful? It was too terrifying and he could not believe it. A level 8 empty god realm was able to suppress him and this was a huge blow to him. The other 8 youths looked at the scene with their mouths agape. Chapter 27-26. His strength is only if. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. He compared the purple-robed youth to Winged Demon, Feng Yuandao, and Feng Zi and realized that the purple-robed youth wasn't a match for Winged Demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others. This was normal. Winged Demon, Feng Yuandao, and the others were ranked in the top 10 of the empty god list. Their combat strength far exceeded those of the same level, and they weren't something that other outer disciples could compare to. After they entered the inner sect, they would definitely become the elite disciples of the inner sect. Their future prospects would definitely be incomparable to those of ordinary disciples. Although the purple-robed youth was considered an elite in the inner sect, he was still a distance away from Winged Demon and the others. Although his cultivation had reached the second-ranked true god realm, his combat strength wasn't comparable to Feng Yuandao and the others, who were at the first-ranked true god realm. Lu Ming's current strength had greatly increased compared to when he was in the Nether Dragon's secret territory. It was easy for him to deal with the purple-robed youth. You're so weak and yet you want to fight for the position of captain. Who else wants the captain flag? Come on. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the other 8 people. The faces of a few people changed. Their cultivation was on par with the purple-robed youth. Since Lu Ming could easily suppress the purple-robed youth, they definitely weren't his match. However, not everyone was afraid of it. Lad, you're pretty strong. You must be one of the top 3 on the empty god list. The long-faced youth squinted his eyes and said coldly. The eyes of the others flashed as realization dawned on them. Only the top 3 empty gods on the empty god list had such terrifying strength. You talk too much. If you want to fight, then hurry up. If you don't, then get lost. Lu Ming reprimanded. Arrogant. I can even easily suppress the number 1 on the empty god list. Today, I'll show you the difference between the outer sect and inner sect. The long-faced youth's eyes were cold. His body flashed and he charged towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. His speed was shockingly fast. This was a godly speed skill and an ordinary person wouldn't be able to react in time. However, Lu Ming wasn't an ordinary person. Wang. The long spear in his hand buzzed and vibrated. Then, it shot out explosively, instantly turning into dozens of spear shadows that pierced in all directions. Whoosh! In the next moment, the long-faced young man's figure appeared. He floated backward and dodged Lu Ming's attack. Brat, your reaction is quite sharp. In that case, I'll use my strength to suppress you. The long-faced youth yelled coldly. The aura of a 4th-level true god completely erupted. A 4th-level true god was much stronger than a 2nd-level true god. Divine power surged like waves, forming a terrifying pressure that pressed down on Lu Ming. A long spear appeared in his hand. Meteor spear. With a low shout, the long-faced youth thrust his spear at Lu Ming like a meteor. A terrifying divine skill, under the support of a level 4 true god's divine power, the power was astonishingly strong. Lu Ming immediately activated the battle character secret art to double his battle prowess. The divine force in his body circulated at full force, and the 5 divine fires burned fiercely, bursting out with shocking power. World-extinguishing 3 strikes, sky-piercing. Lu Ming used his most powerful move right away. 2 beams of spear gleams collided in the air, as though 2 stars had collided. Dong! A terrifying explosion sounded, and a terrifying force spread out in all directions. The others' faces changed, and they hurriedly retreated, circulating their divine power to resist. Pang! Pang!
The scattered energy slammed into the ground and the walls. Even though the ground and walls were made of ice that had been frozen for hundreds of millions of years, they still left deep scars on them. Then, the crowd saw a figure retreating continuously. Every step he took would leave a footprint on the ground. He retreated more than 10 steps before he could stabilize himself. The person who retreated was the long-faced youth. Caesar. At the scene, there was a sound of people sucking in cold air. Lu Ming actually repelled the long-faced youth. How was this possible? The long-faced youth had a 4th-level true god cultivation. An 8th-level void god could actually repel a 4th-level true god. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary 4th-level true god. What kind of monster was this? The others could no longer use the word shock to describe their feelings. They simply thought that they were dreaming. Impossible. The long-faced youth found it hard to believe. He has some strength. A 4th-level true god is indeed powerful. Lu Ming said in his heart. A 4th-level true god was much stronger than a 2nd-level true god. Even Lu Ming couldn't defeat him easily. And hi, let's attack together. Let's attack together and suppress this kid. At this moment, the long-faced youth shouted. He was calling out to the burly youth. Among this group of people, he and the burly youth, and Hai, had the highest cultivation level. They had reached the 4th level of True God Realm. The rest of them were at the 2nd or 3rd level of True God Realm. They were no match for Lu Ming. Alright, let's attack together. And Hai took a step forward, and a metal rod appeared in his hand. It was pitch black, and looked extremely heavy. Kid, your strength is beyond my expectation. As long as you can defeat the 2 of us, I will recognize you as the leader. No, you will be my boss in the future, and I will follow you. And Hai said in a deep voice, and his eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit. Up to you. Attack. Lu Ming said. Attack. The long-faced youth shouted and unleashed his full strength to attack Lu Ming. He displayed his divine skill, Meteor Spear, to the extreme. At the same time, An Hai also attacked. His iron rod was like a mountain, pressing down on Lu Ming. When the 2 of them joined forces, their strength was unleashed to the extreme, and the power was overwhelming. Even Lu Ming didn't dare to be careless. Boom! Lu Ming activated the battle character formula consecutively, and his combat strength was increased by 3 times. 3rd Strike of Extinction, Sky Piercing. Lu Ming displayed the 3rd Strike of Extinction once again, and 2 spear lights clashed with the long-faced youth and An Hai. Boom! Boom! After a few collisions, the 2 figures retreated. It was An Hai and the long-faced youth. After Lu Ming activated the 3rd Strike of Extinction, the 2 of them were even weaker, and they were suppressed by Lu Ming. As the 2 of them retreated, Lu Ming immediately followed up. His spear light was like a mountain pillar, pressing down on the 2 of them. The 2 of them roared and tried their best to resist, but they couldn't. As the spear light pressed down, the 2 of them coughed out large mouthfuls of blood. Their figures retreated rapidly, and they crashed into the wall, almost shattering the wall made of 100 million years dark ice. The 2 of them coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, and their faces were as pale as paper. They looked at Lu Ming in horror. God, this. The others were also shocked to the extreme, and their throats were trembling as if there was a lump of dog hair stuck in their throats. Dong! Lu Ming took a step forward, and the palace shook. His fighting spirit was soaring. Wait, I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. I surrender. And Hai was the first to shout. He looked at Lu Ming with reverence and deep admiration. Lu Ming, you're crazy. I, An Hai, am a man of my words. Since you've defeated us, you'll be the captain from now on, and also my boss. An Hai patted his chest and said. Lu Ming didn't comment. He looked at the long-faced youth and said, What about you, do you still want to fight? Chapter 27:27. The long-faced young man's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and walked into a room without saying a word. Did I say you could leave? Lu Ming said coldly. The long-faced young man's body stiffened and he stopped in his tracks. What do you want? The long-faced young man asked with an ugly expression. However, Lu Ming ignored him. He swept his gaze across the rest. What about you guys? Who wants to fight? Come at me together. Don't waste time. Lu Ming said. The other 7 young men and women shuddered and broke out in cold sweat. What a joke. The long-faced young man and An Hai, 2 level 4 true gods, were no match for Lu Ming.
Were they looking for trouble? Senior brother Lu, you must be joking. You are strong enough to be the leader. We are convinced.
Yes, we are convinced.
The others quickly nodded and bowed.
In the cultivation world, the strong were respected. Since Lu Ming was stronger than them, they had to call Lu Ming senior brother, even if he was just an outer disciple.
All right, since that is the case, I will say this. Since I am the leader, you must listen to my orders. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude.
Lu Ming said coldly.
Of course. The others nodded and bowed.
Only the long-faced young man's face became gloomier.
Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hands. Everyone felt as if they had been granted amnesty. They found a room to stay in. Lu Ming also found a room to stay in. The next few days were peaceful. Lu Ming cultivated wholeheartedly. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. After 7 days, the ice soul race that had received them before came again.
Lu Ming and the others came to the courtyard.
Everyone, the outstanding talents of the other sects are all here. The 9th young master intends to let everyone meet first to familiarize themselves with each other. That way, they will be able to cooperate better in future missions.
The 9th young master has already prepared a banquet.
The Ice Soul Race Elder said with a smile. Senior, how many sects are participating this time? Lu Ming asked. Other than your Kongxian school, there are 5 other sections. One of them is the Mystic Academy, one of the 3 overlords. The elder from the Ice Soul clan explained. Mystic Academy. Lu Ming, and Hai, and the others were shocked. What exactly was the mission this time around?
There were a total of 6 sects and factions invited, and one of them was even an overlord faction.
Senior, what is the mission this time? Lu Ming asked again. The others also looked curious. They couldn't understand. The Ice Soul race was extremely powerful. What kind of mission would they have that they couldn't complete on their own? Why would they ask for help? More importantly, the Ice Soul race only needed to send out a high-level true god realm expert to suppress them.
9th young master will explain this later.
The old man of the Ice Soul clan smiled and didn't explain further. The group followed the old man and soon arrived at a spacious courtyard. The courtyard was very large, and there was a small lake in the middle of the courtyard. The strangest thing was that the lake water didn't freeze even though the temperature was so low. Rows of seats were placed beside the lake. These seats were also carefully arranged. There were a total of 7 areas. The highest area had the most seats, and it was already filled with people. These people had long snow-white hair and snow-white pupils. It was obvious that they were from the Ice Soul race. The other 5 seats were also filled with people at this moment. Obviously, these people were from the other 5 sections. The group landed on the ground. The Ice Soul race elder walked toward the seats and bowed to a young man in the middle. 9th young master, the people from the Kongxian school are here. This young man had long snow-white hair and was very handsome. He was the Ice Soul race's 9th young master, Bing Qing. All right, you may leave. Bing Qing waved his hand. The Ice Soul race elder and the others bowed and left. Lu Ming, and Hai, and the others looked at the people from the other sections. They were all young people. The people from the other 5 sects and the Ice Soul race were all young people. Judging from their life auras, they were all younger than 10,000 years old. Huya. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes moved and he looked at a certain area. This was the area where the Mystic Academy was located. The Mystic Academy had the most people, with a total of 18 people. Lu Ming recognized one of them. It was Huya, the prodigy of the Tiger tribe who had fought with Lu Ming during the Qin Tian 13 sex recruitment test. As Lu Ming and the others were looking at the others were looking at them as well. Haha, the Kongxian school actually sent an empty god to do this mission. What a joke. Is he looking down on the Ice Soul race and treating this mission as a joke? A sharp voice sounded. It came from the Mystic Academy. It was a young man from the Mystic Academy. The others were curious as well. Lu Ming did not deliberately hide his ability. Everyone could tell at one glance that Lu Ming's cultivation level was at the 8th level of the Void God realm. The people who had come to complete this mission were all prodigies of the True God realm and above. Even the people from the Ice Soul race were surprised that the Kongxian school had sent an empty God realm. Don't spout nonsense. Since when did the Kongxian school look down on the Ice Soul race? And Hai looked at the young man from the Mystic Academy and said unhappily, "You're still denying it? Then why did you send an empty god realm?
I think the Kongxian school is just trying to get away with this mission and get more benefits.
The young man from the Mystic Academy sneered. The Kongxian school was the leader of the top 10 sections. Their strength had increased rapidly over the years and they had become a threat to the three overlords. Therefore, the relationship between the three overlords and the Kongxian school wasn't good. The Mystic Academy seized the opportunity to suppress the Kongxian school. Bullshit.
The Mystic Academy is the one who is trying to get away with this mission.
Anhai shouted. What did you say? Are you looking for trouble?
The young man from the Mystic Academy wasn't afraid at all and he exuded a powerful aura.
Do you think I'm afraid of you? Anhai said loudly. He didn't back down. The two sides were about to fight. Haha, you are all guests. Why don't you sit down and have a drink? Bing Qing, the ninth lord of the Ice Soul race, laughed and tried to smooth things over. He had to give face to the ninth lord of the Ice Soul race. The young man from the Mystic Academy retracted his aura and looked at Anhai coldly.
I'll let you go today for the sake of Lord Bing Qing. Humph, we don't know who will let you go yet.
Anhai said unhappily. Haha, everyone from the Kongxian school, please take a seat. Bing Qing laughed again and pointed to an empty seat. There were 10 tables and chairs in this seat. It was the same number as the 10 people from the Kongxian school. It was obviously prepared for the Kongxian school. Chapter 27-28. Moreover, these seats were arranged in a particular way. They were arranged like a fan, with the middle seat protruding and the seats on both sides leaning back slightly. Lu Ming and the rest of the team walked toward their seats. Lu Ming sat down in the middle seat while the rest of the team sat on both sides of the seat. The people from the other sects were stunned when they saw where Lu Ming and the rest of the team were seated. This was because the middle seat was usually reserved for the team leaders. For example, the ninth young master of the Ice Spirit tribe, Bing Qing, was seated in the middle. The people from the other sects who were seated in the middle were the team leaders of this mission. If Lu Ming was seated in the middle, wouldn't that mean that Lu Ming was the team leader of the 10 members of the Kongxian school? An empty god was the team leader? Ha ha ha. What a joke. How could the Kongxian school let an empty god be the team leader? What a joke. The young man from the Mystic Academy who had spoken earlier laughed out loud. His voice was filled with mockery. In my opinion, the Kongxian school has no other capable people. How could they let an empty god be the team leader? I can foresee how useless the rest of the team members are. How could such a sect be worthy of being the top of the top 10 sects? Another young man from the Mystic Academy sneered. The other sects also sneered at the Kongxian school. This time, even Bing Qing and the other young supreme talents from the Ice Spirit tribe looked displeased. It was still acceptable for an empty god to follow them. However, this empty god was actually the leader of the Ice Spirit tribe. This was clearly looking down on the Ice Spirit tribe. What did they take the Ice Spirit tribe for? They had invited the supreme talents from the Kongxian school to help them because they had to give the Kongxian school a lot of benefits. Otherwise, how could Lu Ming and the rest of the team have been rewarded with 20,000 points for completing the mission? The Ice Spirit tribe had given the Kongxian school a lot of benefits so that the Kongxian school could reward them with a lot of points. Now, the young man from the Mystic Academy had said that letting a virtual god be the team leader was simply perfunctory. In the Kongxian school, the long-faced youth, the purple-robed youth, and the others all had ugly expressions on their faces. They had expected this to happen, which was why they wanted to take Lu Ming's position as team leader. You're all fucking bullshit. The position of captain of Kongxian school is naturally reserved for the strongest person. What do you know? Lu Ming didn't say anything, but Anhai couldn't help but roar. The strongest person? Annihility god is your strongest person. You guys are really useless. Ha ha ha. The young men of the Hybrid Demon Academy burst out laughing with mocking expressions. In my opinion, your Kongxian school's title as the leader of the top 10 sects is completely undeserved. Why don't you just give it up? On the right side of Lu Ming's group, a young man from a sect sneered. This sect was one of the Qin Tian 13 sects, the Flowing Water sect. The Flowing Water sect wasn't very strong in the Qin Tian 13 sects. It was almost at the bottom. However, the Flowing Water sect had a very good relationship with the Mystic Academy. They usually followed the Mystic Academy's lead. Some people even joked that the Flowing Water sect was a dog of the Mystic Academy. The Kongxian school and the Mystic Academy had a conflict, so they naturally stood on the side of the Mystic Academy. What's a dog barking for? And Hai retorted very rudely. What did you say? A bunch of useless people. I think you should go back. Don't make a fool of yourself here. You'll drag us down when you participate in the mission. A black-faced youth from the Flowing Water sect hooted. He then looked at Lu Ming with disdain and said, What? You're not convinced, right? If you're not convinced, then let's fight. Kid, I challenge you now. At the end of his sentence, the black-faced youth stood up and pointed at Lu Ming, shouting loudly. Are you sure you want to challenge me? Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. Yes, I want to challenge you. I'm in the Flowing Water sect and I'm not the captain. Now I challenge you, the captain. Do you dare to accept? The black-faced youth said loudly. He seemed to be reckless, but he was actually very shrewd. In his opinion, Lu Ming was a Nihility God realm martial artist who couldn't withstand a single blow. He wasn't the captain of the Flowing Water sect, but he defeated the captain of the Kongxian school. It was equivalent to slapping the Kongxian school's face. He could make a name for himself and please the Mystic Academy's prodigies. It was killing two birds with one stone. You're not qualified to make me fight. And Hai, go and teach him a lesson. Make him kneel on the ground and apologize. Lu Ming raised his wine cup and slowly took a sip. Good, that's what I want. And Hai revealed a ferocious expression and strode towards the Flowing Water sect. Bing Qing's eyes flashed, but she didn't stop him. The Mystic Academy's prodigies also watched with interest. Brat, kneel down. And Hai quickened his pace and finally jumped up. Like a goshawk, he swooped down towards the black-faced youth from the Flowing Water sect. The vast palm force was like an avalanche as it pressed towards the black-faced youth. The black-faced youth's expression changed as he punched out continuously. His fist technique was like flowing water. After dozens of punches, the sky was filled with fist shadows. The fist shadows gathered into a river and rushed towards Anhai. However, Anhai's cultivation was at level 4 True God Realm, while the black-faced youth was only at level 2 True God Realm. The difference was too big. Under the pressure of Anhai's palm force, the black-faced youth's fist shadows collapsed. Boom! The palm force was like a mountain, pressing down on the black-faced youth. The black-faced youth screamed and knelt on the ground with a plop. Presumptuous! You're courting death! The other youths from the Flowing Water sect were enraged. They roared and pounced towards Anhai, including the captain of the Flowing Water sect. Come on, all of you kneel down. Anhai revealed a ferocious expression. A long staff appeared in his hand. The long staff swept out, exploding the void and creating a terrifying boom. The sky was filled with staff shadows, pressing down on the Flowing Water sect's elites like a mountain. There were a total of 6 youths from the Flowing Water sect, but the strongest one was only at level 3 True God Realm. He was no match for Anhai. Pang, pang, pang. After a series of explosions, the Flowing Water sect's disciples were thrown back and vomited blood. Only the captain was in a better state, but he was also thrown back and vomited blood. Level 4 True God Realm. The captain of the Flowing Water sect shouted, revealing a shocked expression. Those who came this time were those who had cultivated for less than 10,000 years. It was rare to be able to cultivate to level 4 True God Realm within 10,000 years. The others were also shocked. They looked at Anhai with a dignified expression. However, they could not figure out why Anhai was not the captain of the Kongxian school. Instead, the captain was a level 8 Empty God Realm martial artist. Could it be that the kid has a high status in the Kongxian school and is the descendant of a big shot? Many people thought so. This was very likely. Otherwise, with Anhai's cultivation, why would they listen to Lu Ming and let Lu Ming be the captain? With your cultivation, you dare to criticize my Kongxian school. Kneel down and apologize to me. Anhai's iron staff pressed down on the captain of the Flowing Water sect. Chapter 27-29. Anhai's iron rod was like a steel mountain under his divine power. It was extremely thick and filled with terrifying power. Although the Flowing Water sect's captain tried his best, the difference in their cultivation levels was obvious. He was completely outclassed and was forced to retreat. His body trembled as he coughed out blood. Kneel! Anhai was extremely domineering. He pressed his iron rod down again, wanting to force the Flowing Water sect's captain to kneel on the ground. Enough! At this moment, a cold voice came from the Mystic Academy. It was the Mystic Academy's captain, a young man with black demonic tattoos on his face. As soon as he spoke, a young man sitting next to him dashed out at an incredible speed. In the next moment, he appeared in front of the flowing water sect's captain. A large cauldron appeared in his hand and he swung it at Anhai's iron rod. Dong! There was an earth-shattering roar as the energy spread out in all directions. Then, the two figures took a few steps back. Anhai and the young man from the Yimo Academy were evenly matched in this exchange. 4th level True God Realm. Anhai licked his lips.
His eyes were even more ferocious and filled with a strong desire to battle.
Anhai had always been a person who liked to fight. However, Anhai did not continue to attack. He knew that since the Mystic Academy had made a move, it would be difficult to make the Flowing Water Sect's captain kneel. The Kongxian school is so arrogant. You made the other sect's elites kneel in front of everyone. What's wrong? Do you want to replace the Mystic Academy and become the Overlord? The Mystic Academy's captain said coldly. As soon as he opened his mouth, he put a big hat on the Kongxian school's head. As he spoke, the Mystic Academy's captain looked at Lu Ming. His eyes were sharp as he said, "Also, as a captain, can you only hide behind others and give orders? I don't care who you are. It's okay if you act like a tyrant in the Kongxian school, but to act like a tyrant in front of the Mystic Academy is ridiculous." You said it yourself. I didn't say anything.
Lu Ming said indifferently.
But you have done it. You have to look at the owner before beating the dog. You have injured the people of the Flowing Water Sect in front of me. You have to pay the price. Now, get out here and apologize to me. Apologize to the Flowing Water Sect, and apologize to the Mystic Academy. The captain of the Mystic Academy stared at Lu Ming. His gaze was so cold that it pierced through Lu Ming's bones. Apologize? You think too much. The Flowing Water Sect being abused is purely their own fault. Lu Ming said calmly as he continued to drink his wine. His calm demeanor made the Mystic Academy captain's eyes turn even colder. Good, good, good. The captain of the Mystic Academy said, "Good 3 times in a row." Then he said coldly, "Then you asked for it. Attack, I want that kid to kneel down." Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the captain of the Mystic Academy finished speaking, 7 or 8 people from the Mystic Academy immediately stood up. Their bodies flashed and appeared in different places. A few of them blocked the long-faced young man from the Kongxian school. The long-faced young man's expression changed, but he didn't make a move in the end. He just waited and watched. Get out of my way. On the other hand, Anhai roared and waved his iron rod, trying to blow away the people in front of him. Behave yourself. In front of Anhai, the man with the cauldron waved his cauldron like a mountain towards Anhai. The two of them exchanged a few moves, but they were evenly matched. Anhai was held back. In this way, the people of the Kongxian school were all held back. Only Lu Ming was still sitting in his seat and drinking wine. Leave this kid to me. During the 13 sex assessment, this kid killed many of my Tiger Tribe's elites. Today, I will make him kneel in front of me and repent. Huya suddenly stood up from his seat in the Mystic Academy and stared at Lu Ming ferociously. Oh, he's from the same batch as you? The captain of the Mystic Academy was stunned. That's right. However, during the 13 sex assessment, my cultivation was suppressed and I couldn't use my full strength. That's why I couldn't take revenge. Now it's the right time. Huya said ferociously. All right, I'll leave this kid to you. The captain of the Mystic Academy said. Boom. A powerful aura erupted from Huya's body, suppressing Lu Ming. Level 1 True God Realm. This was Huya's level. During the 13 sex assessment, Huya's cultivation was already at level 9 Empty God Realm. It wasn't surprising that he had broken through to the True God Realm. Lu Ming, get up and fight with me. I'll let you know what true combat strength is. Huya strode toward Lu Ming. He had a ferocious look and his mouth was wide open. His body was like a huge mountain. Most people would tremble in fear if they were suppressed by his aura. However, Lu Ming didn't even look at Huya as he said, I'm not interested in fighting with a loser. Find someone who can fight. Although Huya controlled sacred grade divine power and had powerful combat strength, Lu Ming's cultivation had already reached level 8 Void God Realm and he had improved greatly in all aspects. Moreover, he had cultivated the Heaven and Earth 10,000 Tao Sutra. However, Huya felt insulted by Lin Fan's words. Arrogant. If my cultivation wasn't suppressed back then, I could have killed you with a finger. Huya roared. He took a step forward and appeared before Lu Ming. His huge palm reached out to grab Lu Ming's head. He wanted to crush Lu Ming's head like a watermelon. As the huge palm pressed down, energy filled the air. Lu Ming's seat and the dishes on it shook violently. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. A gust of divine force spread out and covered the dishes, preventing them from moving. Then, Lu Ming raised his hand and stabbed out with his finger like a spear. Shush! A spear radiance shot out from Lu Ming's finger and hit Huya's palm. Boom! When divine forces collided, there was a loud explosion. Then, there was a painful roar. A figure was pushed back, causing the ground to rumble. It was Huya who was pushed back. Moreover, there was a bloody hole in his palm and blood was flowing out. Apart from the people from the Kongxian sect, everyone's gaze froze as they looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming sat there without moving. How could he be so strong to be able to pierce through Huya's palm? Lu Ming's cultivation was only at level 8 empty god realm. On the other hand, Huya was already at level 1 true god realm. Most importantly, Huya wasn't an ordinary person. He was a peerless genius who controlled divine force. Even in the Mystic Academy, there weren't many people like him. When he grew up, he would be the holy son of the Mystic Academy. He would be qualified to compete for the position of the Dean of the Mystic Academy in the future. His combat strength couldn't be measured by his cultivation. It was easy for him to fight someone of a higher cultivation level. However, he had been injured by Lu Ming, who was a higher cultivation level than him. Even Huya himself was incomparably shocked. This was because he clearly knew that in the previous clash, his divine power had been easily pierced through. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.